we are. We're freaking live, live, live. I love it. I love it. I love it. Thank you so much for joining. Appreciate everyone. We're going to get started. This is going to be I'm going to be on as long as humanly possible. Uh, we're going to talk about some very important things. Most importantly, we are going to be talking about the system that your narcissist does not even want you to know that it exists. Let me just get a few things straight over here while we wait for people to join in. Excited today, definitely excited today. And I'm going to talk about the evolution of real talk. It's going from Real Talk, the show, to Real Talk 2.0, and now it's going to become Real Talk no other way. So I am super, super excited about that growth and change. Change is one of those things that is it's kind of built into this reality. Change is very important. And we're also going to be talking about the change that is needed, very much needed, for us to break free from the trauma bond. And we've actually literally have a whole system to make sure that happens. If you don't know me, I am Minister Robinson. Yes, I am ordained. I run the Church of Real Talk. That is actually a nonprofit in New Jersey. And under that umbrella comes the Now Movement, no other way but forward. This is actually a multi-stream, so if you see me looking away, it's because I'm trying to pay attention to both aspects of the stream. Let me just put this up. So hopefully everyone is having an awesome, amazing day. I'm really hoping that you are. But what we're going to talk about, first off, we're going to talk about the system. Okay, the system is very, very important. If you have found yourself in this struggle with the trauma bond, it's not fun. I'm the first one to admit it. It is not fun. But if you find yourself in that struggle, there is a way out. I'm going to definitely tell you there is a way out, a way to get out of the trauma bond. It's not as difficult as you think. However, I'm going to be completely honest and transparent. It's not as easy as you think. But with all things, as long as you have a system in place, it makes things a little bit easier. And this system was literally built on what I used to get out of the trauma bond. Yes, I was caught up in the trauma bond. You know, the my best plans went sideways for what I thought was a fulfilling relationship, just like many people have. Um, and it's really crazy when you find yourself in this trauma bond, in this thing that feels like at times that you just can't escape it. You're not getting free. You're not getting out. Uh, every day seems like a new challenge, especially if your narcissist, or as I like to call your pet demon, is still taking it. Oh God, the alarm! Oh my God, I had that alarm set for something. No clue why it just went off. I apologize, everyone. I definitely apologize. But yeah, that was kind of embarrassing. Um, so we're going to talk about a few things here. Okay. One of those things that we're going to talk about, something that I've been talking about all week long, is reality. The reality is that your body actually knew before you did. You know, let's be honest here. Your body knew that something was off, that something was wrong. You just chose to ignore those signals and signs. And that's really not a bad thing. It's not really a bad thing, because as an empath, you did, very important, you did what you were driven to do. You really thought that you found the one. You found your soulmate. You found someone that you was going to drive through the park with wheelchairs next to each other. You really thought that you had found that special person in your life, not knowing, not really understanding that this was all an illusion. And I think that is the hardest thing for us to let go of when we find ourselves going through the trauma bond, is letting go of the illusion. Okay, the illusion did exist. You knew that it existed, and you just chose to go with what you felt in your heart. And it's kind of crazy because the chaos, it seemed like there was intensity. So it felt like something that you felt the need to fight for. Hey, B11313, how you doing? Thank you so much for joining. I started a little bit early today, but I'm going for the long run because we're talking about not only the system that the narcissist wants to make sure you don't get your hands on, for people that are going through the trauma bond, because it's going to take the glasses off of some of those illusions that people are holding on to. Let's start with phase one, which is it is the non-negotiable for the narcissist. Phase one is the non-negotiable. Many people, mental health professionals, creators, we call that the love bombing stage. Okay, that's the initial contact with the narcissist. And even that has stages within those stages. The mirroring, okay? The mirroring is very important to them, okay? It's almost like a tactic that salesmen are taught. Salesmen, if you've ever gone to buy a high ticket or a medium ticket item, you'll find that if you pay attention that the salesman is kind of mimicking, the way you talk, your pauses in your conversation. They're kind of mimicking you. And the reason why they do this is because mental health professionals have felt that if a person seems like you, it kind of throws that red flag down. You're not going to be as cautious. You're not going to pay attention to the red flag because essentially you're looking at yourself. The narcissist has taken this to a whole new level, especially when we're dealing with interpersonal, quote unquote, romantic relationships. Again, we're looking at a being, I'm not even going to call them human beings, we're looking at a being that has been practicing this for most of their life. So they know how to pick up on certain cues and not to overdo it, but to draw you in. It's very important to draw you in. And by drawing you in, what they do is they make those red flags just disappear because you're looking at yourself. What is unsafe about you in your mind? What do you find unsafe about the person that you are? No, red flags are going down. And then comes even more intensity. It's like they just turn up the heat little by little, the intimacy, the passion, and you soon mistake this. Hey, Power Connie 6, thank you for joining. I appreciate you. You soon view this as attachment. The narcissist knows this. And the next stage of the love bombing stage is where they make you feel seen. They do. And there's a nefarious side to that because they're hanging on your every word. They're asking personal questions about your life. They're asking what makes you tick? What's your thought process? What are your goals? What are your dreams? What are your fears? And you look at it as pillow talk conversation, afterglow conversation. But what the narcissist is really doing is they are doing what is called data mining. They are getting as much data as humanly possible about you as a person. Again, your goals, your dreams, your fears, the things that make you uncomfortable, the things that give you anxiety. And the reason why we know it's data mining is because if you have, thank you so much for the likes, if you find yourself in this narcissistic dynamic, you'll notice that you know very little about them. In fact, you only know surface level stuff. You're the one that's constantly giving, you're constantly talking. Because again, another red flag is being subdued because you're saying to yourself, finally, someone sees me. Finally, and this is important to empaths. Finally, someone is trying to get me. Finally, someone is trying to understand me. That's heavy right there. That's heavy right there. So we've actually gotten rid of a few red flags now. And then the intensity keeps on for a certain amount of time. Again, this is very, very important to the narcissist because if this doesn't work, there is no sense for them to go any further. They literally have to make you fall head over heels in love. You think it's with them, but you're falling in love with yourself. You're falling in love with the things that you felt have been missing from your life. You're falling in love with the concept of being seen. Most human beings want that. They want to be seen, but especially empaths. Empaths always need to feel that they are being seen. And this is what narcissists actually seek out. They seek out empaths because empaths are going to do quite a few things. Hello, Toker. Toker says, let me stop right here. So sick of feeling sick and anxiety from narcissists, tired of this and want break. That was a typo, but I'm figuring you want to break free. Well, that's what we're here to talk about. We're here to talk about the system. We're here to talk about the system that the narcissist does not want you to have. I think one of the people in that movement made a joke. We're like the narc slaves. But this system is going to open your eyes so much to the illusion that many people have held on to. And that's what it is. And you say you're sick and tired. Well, that's part of the entrapment that the narcissist places upon us. The whole relationship or situationship is based off of confusion. It's based off of highs and lows. It's based on you not having emotional safety. And that's why the love bombing stage, phase one, is so important because the narcissist is now instilling into your mind that the version that you saw, the love bombing stage that you saw in the beginning, is reclaimable. You just have to help them work through this. You just have to love harder. You just need to understand them a little bit better. This is deception at its core level because the narcissist, after the initial love bombing, they know that you're trapped. When you're sitting up there cuddled up saying, oh, I love you so much. Where have you been all of my life? Oh my God, I can't wait to see what the future holds for us. They've got you. That little switch goes on inside of their head. And I'm going to tell you, within a week or two, you're going to start noticing the first signs of the devaluation stage. B11313, how do you trust anyone you talk to? I mean, how do two people get to know one another? I didn't get after the without. If you're talking about exchanging information, that is true. That is true. How do we get to know each other without exchanging information? When you're dealing with human beings, when you're dealing with people without a disorder, always remember that word. It's par for the course. This is literally how we get to love human beings. And in a sense, we kind of, when we find that we're attracted to another person, we feel that person is attracted to us, we go through kind of, I guess, compatibility test. It's not serious, but it's 180 degrees different from what the narcissist is doing to you. Yes, we exchange information, but it should be a give and take, and you will be able to sense that it's a give and take as long as you are not blinded. Okay, thank you for joining, Jasmine. I appreciate you. As long as you're not blinded. One thing that I've noticed, I can speak for my situationship with my narcissist, and I've had three of them. I can speak to people that I've actually had consults with. I can speak to what they say. You never know the narcissist. Even after the discard, how much do you really know about them? So, was information being exchanged or was information being taken? That is a very important way of looking at this. Were you giving information with nothing being returned because you're feeling close to this person, or was information being taken from you? We soon find in hindsight that information was being taken from us, especially during the later stages of the devaluation stage, because everything that you said in confidence now becomes a weapon to use against you. It literally becomes a weapon to be used against you. When we get to the end of the devaluation stage, oh, it goes next level. Anything that you shared in confidence is now going to be used as a missile, or as I like to call a dart, to hurt you, to erode at your confidence, to bring you down. If you're having a conversation with the narcissist about something that you're trying to accomplish, you will soon notice, hey, Diane, thank you for joining. You'll soon notice you're talking to your partner about something that you're trying to accomplish. You'll notice that all of a sudden they'll start giving you reasons why you shouldn't do it. And they will use things that you shared with them. And there'll be subtle thoughts like, are you sure you want to do that? You know, if I remember correctly, you get anxious when this happens. Again, they are always trying to erode at your confidence. They don't have confidence. No matter how secure they presented themselves in the beginning during the love bombing stage, you soon found out that they have no confidence, especially near the end. Oh, thank you, user 851 for sticking around. You'll find at the very there's no confidence there. They've been riding off of your confidence. They've been draining you of your confidence. The relationship is based on the same relationship that a tick or a flea has with their prey. Take. The tick doesn't leave anything at the end of the transaction. The flea doesn't leave anything at the end of the transaction. There's no gift under your pillow. They take what they need and they go. Is this not the narcissist at their bare level? Think about that for a second. If you got into the part where you're at the discard or the reverse discard, what the hell did they leave you? Except confusion and chaos. They're not even going to give you closure. They want you to beg for it, but they're not going to give it to you. Dina M, thank you for joining. Let me read this. He has no friends, so he has resorted to calling people we knew 15 years ago. If I'm understanding you correctly, you're still in the midst of the smear campaign. The mask is always important. Let's get this straight before we go any further. Before we talk, hey, Sex TV, thank you so much for joining. Am I reading it right? Yes, Sex TV. Thank you. If I'm reading this right, you telling me they said I was crazy? Yes, Dina. Like I said, it's the smear campaign. The mask. Let's get this straight. The narcissist does not care about you. The narcissist does not care about friends, family. The narcissist does not care about children. They care about one thing, and one thing is their driving force in their life. It is the mask. The mask that they portray to make the rest of humanity think they are normal, functioning human beings. The mask that they wear to make people think that they're very kind and compassionate. The mask that they wear so that they can move about throughout society and people never throw up a red flag and be like, there's something off about them. They will give to everyone but their victims. They will help everyone besides their victims. The person that loves them the most will find that they are the one that is treated the worst because the mask must be protected. So 15 years down the line, I can see that. I can see them going back to make sure their mask is still intact. Again, we're not dealing with human beings. We're dealing with someone that has a very serious mental disorder that is based on shame. It's not based on happiness. It's not based on, oh, there was some dream that I didn't accomplish. It's not based on all the things that usually make people kind of, regress inside themselves. It is based on nothing but shame. And the way that they deal with that shame is there's 9 criterion in the DSM-5 that speak to narcissistic personality disorder. They live out those 9 criterion. With the most important one, a feeling of superiority. See, if you can hurt a person, in their minds, they feel that they are superior to a person. Think about that for a second. If I can hurt you, thereby I must be more powerful than you. I must be superior to you. Now, let's ask ourselves a very serious and worthy question. Who does that in a fulfilling relationship? Who enters into a relationship with the end goal being to see how much they can destroy you, how much they can take away? And I spoke about this last night because empaths really need to understand this. They don't hate you because of, just the fact that you look good. They don't hate you because of the fact that you're a good person. Do you know why they hate you? They hate you because of your light. They hate you because of what you represent. They hate you because of the capabilities that you have, things that they will never, never embody in their whole life, and they know this. They know this. I speak often. There is, every time a narcissist meets an empath, there is this microsecond. There's this small point in time. I think astrophysicists call it Planck time, like millions of gazillions of a second long, where they feel that you are their savior, only with an empath. Because us being the flip side of a narcissist, they think this is the one. This is the one that is going to make me normal. This is the one that is going to help me become my true self. Because remember, the narcissist always knows what they're doing. There is no time, no point, no minute second, no Planck time that the narcissist does not know what they're doing to you. They are fully aware. It is done on purpose. Again, this is a blueprint that they have been practicing for most of their life. Something that they have been perfecting. Yes, perfecting to hurt others. This is what they're doing. They are protecting the mass, and in order to protect the mass, they have learned these arcane arts of human psychology to break empaths. This is where I get the spiritual warfare from. This is good versus evil. Based on the fact that out of all the people in the world, 6% are narcissists and 30% are empaths. How come the math isn't mathing? Because empaths do not sit up there as they make that monumental choice of, I don't want anybody to experience the pain that I've gone through. And the narcissist, on the other hand, sits up there and says, somebody's got to pay for this issue. Nah, I'm not going to deal with this shame. I'm going to make everybody else pay. So that starts the universal balance. However, the narcissist practices their dark arts. They practice these psychological mind games. They practice all of these things to break down empaths. What do we practice? What prepares us for this? We're out there, all puppy dogs and kittens, trying to make the world a better place. We're out there trying to ease the pain of others. We are out there, get this, we're out there trying to make the world a better place. So where the narcissist gets this blueprint, I still don't know where it comes from. That's why I think they're demons. While the narcissist gets this blueprint of how to harm people, how to manipulate people, how to hurt people, how to break away people's confidence, we get none of that. The narcissist knows this. They know this. Hey, Nog Talks, thank you for joining. I appreciate you. You know, this is the thing. This is the thing. The reality is you got entrapped with a demon, and I get it. Nobody wakes up in the morning and says, you know what? Let me find a demon that I can keep as a pet as close to me as possible so that it can ruin my life. Nobody wakes up for that. Nobody signs up for that. The narcissist needs us because, like I said, they're always looking. In a way, they are addicted to us in a sense. They can't survive without us. Many things that I tell people is, in fact, I was just in a consult last week where someone was going on and on and on about the new supply. And it was kind of hard for me. I'm going to get back to your questions. They're focused on the new supply. And one of the things, and I have to keep myself from getting frustrated, but, I kept on bringing up the fact is, what the new supply is going to go through. The narcissist isn't going to just change your life after decades of being a demon and say, you know what? Today I'm going to be an empath. They can't do it. Do you know physiology has shown that certain parts, once that trauma hits, once they make that conscious decision that they're going to hurt others, that their brain restructures itself? It's not me talking. This is research. Their brain restructures itself. Certain things that most human beings take for advantage, such as the ability to have empathy. The ability to have empathy. Do you know that part of the narcissist's brain shrinks to almost nothing? How to interact with people? Not there, almost non-existent. I mean, to interact with people without manipulating people. There's like a little switch in our brain that says, you know what, lying to people and manipulating, that's really not a good thing. It's kind of going against everything that you were taught at a super early age. Don't do that. Don't do that. So all of that stuff changes inside of their mind. At what point do you think, after decades, literally decades of gaslighting and manipulating people, I'm talking about that's the person that gets little Bobby in trouble in third grade for throwing stuff at the board when they know it wasn't little Bobby, but they're going to test to see if they can get the teacher to actually fall in line and believe them. And then when that happens, they're like, oh, that's how you do that. And they keep on practicing it. As they get older, they want something, they need something. They go to a person from the opposite gender. They try all these different. Oh, that's all you need? Oh, sure, you can have that. There's no skin off of my back. In fact, it's just an act for me. It's just a transaction. But I get what I want. Let me file that away. And they hone these little evil skills throughout their existence. And what have you been honing again? Friendship, puppy dogs, helping your buddies out, watching other people getting to the next level and clapping for them, trying to figure out what your purpose is. And Naruto says we have to shake off the parasite. Yes. Yes. And that's what this system is about. Shaking off the parasite. But I don't know how to say this, but I got to say it this way. You got to stop believing in the tomfoolery. You've got to stop believing that this person ever cared. And here's the hard truth that many survivors even know, and I'm going to put the facts right in your face. If you're at the discard or the reverse discard or after that, and you've gotten free, why do you feel sick to your stomach and they're acting like you never existed? How does that happen? How does a relationship that you spent 5, 10, 15, 20 years, sometimes even more in, and 48 hours, like that show, the next 48, they're in another situationship? Does that seem like a normal person to you? Does that seem like a person that has your best interest in mind? And on top of that, you're just trying to figure out what the hell happened. You're calling them, you're texting them, you're sending emails, you're doing the huge no-no. You're putting your feelings under their social media, and they're not going to give you the closure. And Toker 8585 says, you're literally speaking to me. I feel sick to my stomach and I was discarded for new supply. Well, again, and thank you for that. But I'm going to tell you something. And let's be honest here. Everyone, this is wild that I scrolled in here. You're touching on some serious issues I've experienced. Dr. Genuine. Well, you're going to find, and this is why I stopped making this story time. You're going to find that we all have the same story. Because the narcissist has the same exact playbook. They do. But you know what? I'm going to tell you something. Go look in my bio. It will take you right there. That's why I created this system. This was the system that I needed when I was going through this. This was the same exact system. Now we have a blueprint. Now we literally have a blueprint to help us get over the withdrawal system. It's like we're on a freaking opiate. It feels literally like we are on an opiate because we can't seem to let this person go. And user 851 says, I blocked him and found out he was looking at my social media profile. Let me tell you something. And this is part of, it is part of the trauma bond. It is part of the smear campaign. And by default, it will tell you how devious, how uncaring a person that you dealt with really is. Okay? First off, the reason why I tell people not to look at their social media, rule number one, they're doing it on purpose. They're betting on the fact that you're going to go creep in their social media after the discard. Because remember, you've got no closure. So we live in a social media world. We might get some closure over here. No, you'll never get that. So what they're doing is, it's the glow up. I'm having the best time of my life. I'm finally free. All of what I put up with this person, now I've finally found happiness 48 hours later. They want you to see that because that leaves you even more in a state of confusion. What are the questions you're asking as you're looking at this tomfoolery? You're asking yourself, are they giving this person the only things that I asked for? Have they finally healed? Are they now a better person? Was I really the one that was unstable? These are the questions. I know it. I know it. Did I not try hard enough? Should I have tried harder? I know because I've been there. The narcissist wants you to do this, but I'm going to tell you, it's just another illusion. The new supply is figuring that they won. They figured that they beat you, especially if they know you. They now feel that they are better than you. You are the discussion at the dinner table. You are literally the glue holding their situationship together. That's another reason why it's so important that you heal, because you're still the glue holding the narcissist together. You are. They can't exist without you. So by default, they need to creep your social media for a couple of reasons. A, they need to make sure the mask is still intact. Okay? So by the mask being intact is by them running a smear campaign, they've got to see how it's affecting you. They want to see if you're bleeding out. If you're sitting up there saying, oh, I don't know what happened. I miss them so much. I wish they would just talk to me. While you're bleeding out, do you know what they're saying? They're going back to their flying monkeys and they're saying, see, I told you they're unstable. They're obsessed with me. They can't get over me. I moved on with my life. Why can't they leave me alone? So now the victim becomes the aggressor. So that's why I tell you, don't worry about them. We know a couple of things here. The new supply is going to go through exactly what we went through. Just give it some time. We know this. The narcissist doesn't change. They've been this way their whole bat-ish parasite flea tick combo life. They're not going to stop. The new supply is in a situation where they're being love bombed. Or if they're intermittent supply, that means that the empath that they thought they was going to replace you with didn't work out perfectly. So they need what I like to call intermittent supply. They need someone who's going to validate them. They need someone that's going to praise them. Remember, intimacy, even with you, was just a transaction. It was a way to punish you and reward you. Think about that for a second. Again, we bring into the context of a fulfilling relationship. Who uses intimacy as a weapon? Did you notice that they became very cold and distant all of a sudden? Even though you're sleeping next to them, they'll make it very clear. No, that's not happening. I'm tired. I got a headache. They're not going to say they're not talking to you. They're just going to leave that out there. But once you begin to comply again or become a really, really good goldfish again, because that's essentially what you are in their mind. Once you become a good goldfish, then yeah, I'll give you a few fish flakes. Because that's going to keep you hooked, just like that opiate. And guess what you're chasing? You're chasing that first experience, phase one. Now you see why it's so important? You're not chasing anything else. You're chasing the person that you met. So how nefarious does that get? Did someone actually planted a mental booby trap in you to not only keep you addicted to them, but to keep you continuously off balance? You have, through this whole situationship, you have been walking an emotional tightrope. and it's real high. Hey, what's up, Joy 222? Real high above the big top. You're up there. You're like Empire State up there. And even you know that you don't know what's going to push you completely off balance. You don't know how much more of this you can take. You're looking like, how long is this damn tightrope? And in a sense, you're being selfish. And I have to say this, because being an empath, you're being selfish because you're not at the end, maybe, but during the confusion, your main concern is just bringing the person back that you met in the beginning. Nothing more, nothing less. That's all that you want. You want that person back. And you're not trying to make a world a better place at this stage. You're not trying to, make them a better person. You just want that person back. And they know that's what you want because they did it on purpose. Again, now it's time to take our power back, funnel that energy into our glow up. Correct. And that is why the system exists. Because many of you walk out there and you say, after you get free, after you see the mask, after you're horrified, after you finally see that you've been living with a demon, you want that payback. They've got to pay. What? This person did this to me? Thank you, Nora, for joining and sticking around. You did this to me? Oh, you're going to pay. You are going to pay. But it doesn't help you. It doesn't help you. If you truly want revenge on a cosmic level, pour that energy back into yourself. Pour it literally, every drop, every thought that comes into your mind about them, you actually turn that around and you pour it into yourself, because I'm going to tell you something. This is the reality that sucks. Throughout most of this situationship, you have been pouring into no one. And I mean literally no one but them. You have left yourself by the side of the road to try to bring back an illusion. You have literally left yourself by the side of the road with leaves on top of you and hand reaching out, hoping that a car stops and sees you. You have left yourself right there based on you giving every drop of energy you have, every drop of sanguine fluid to this tick, to this parasite. And there, Sid, this is where we get the narcissistic smirk from. We've all experienced it. We're heated. We're at our wits' end, and then we happen to look at them. It's like, why the hell are you smirking? Think about that. Because we're feeding them. Our outrage, our confusion, our emotional instability is feeding them. So what you're seeing is that same look that you have when you push away from a restaurant or a buffet, and you're like, yeah, I can't do this anymore. But you know what? That stuff over there look pretty good. Give me a few seconds and I'll try again. What? Hey, Chosen Moon, thank you for joining. I appreciate you. But guys, you've got to look at this and see this for what it truly is. User 5851, he is looking at mine. I've gone silent, but why is he lurking? You answered my question. That's all I'm here to do. That's the empath of me. I'm always going to be of assistance. I am always going to be of assistance. Part of being an empath, and that was from the initial decision, because as an empath, we've all gone through trauma. And that's one of the first things that they data mine for. They want to know your trauma. They want to know what hurt you, because it kind of cinches. If you've had something deep that hurt you, it kind of cinches. They're like, well, you're not like me, so you must be the flip side of me. And that's just what I wanted. So as an empath, we made that decision that, hey, listen, I don't want people to have to experience this pain. I don't want people to have to experience heartache. I want to be better than that. I want to be a better person than that. That's another reason why they hate you. It's there's no love. It's just hate. There's no love there. And this is why you have to make that decision. And let me talk about, because I want to get down all the things that are truly, truly in here. So this is what the decoder um, includes. Okay, and it's actually until June 1st. It's actually only $19.99. On June 1st, the system automatically updates to the original price, which is $49. Okay, so this is not to create a sense of urgency, but if you're serious about healing and nothing else is working, hey, 20 bucks, 19.99. I don't know about you, but I would take that chance. Again, it would be something that I wish existed when I was going through this. So what does it have in it? It has guided video modules. Okay, there's a total, if you include the intro and the outro, there's a total of 8. Okay, and they hit the main points. And they're going to bring awareness and clarity. Clarity is so important, especially when you're going through the trauma bond, because not having clarity is, hey, thank you, need more page 4. Thank you for joining. Without clarity, you're not going to understand the most vital concept. You're not going to let go of the ghost, as I like to call it. You're going to keep on making excuses for your demon. And we know those excuses are, oh, they're stressed out. Oh, they're right. This is the wrong time to talk about this. Oh, maybe I am being too sensitive. Oh, maybe I'm being too emotional. Maybe the people that they have time to talk about our relationship with, maybe they're right because they're saying that they think that I'm crazy. So we make all of these excuses for what we know emotionally, realistically is happening to us. We know that for some strange reason, whenever we try to bring up something important to this person, we get shot down out the ground. It's like, be quiet. I'm not going to talk about this. I'm not. So we experience this reality, but we're the ones making excuses for it. Literally. So those video modules are going to explain that. Another thing is I actually have the emotional reality tracker. These are actually workbooks. Okay, downloadable PDF workbooks that will help you map this and stop lying about what's happened to you. And I hate to use that word, but that's what many of us do. We lie. I did it. I had more excuses for the baddish behavior than I had excuses for waking up late. I always had an excuse for them. So the reality checker you're going to actually write down. Remember that connection between your brain and actually writing stuff down will help you push past the illusion. Okay. The another thing is I created a custom GPT. Okay. One of those chat GPT things, but it is solely focused on clearing up the emotional confusion from narcissistic abuse. If you can't put your finger on it, if you can't understand why don't we use one of the greatest tools created, by man, for man, to help you decipher what's going on, or as it's called, decode what is going on. Where you can insert stuff into it and ask it questions. This is AI. It's not invested on making you feel bad. It's invested in helping you. And it has been given all the guardrails and instructions to make sure that it does just that. And what else do we have in here? We have hidden pattern recognition tools. Okay. Like I said, we're dealing with the Bernie Madoff of emotional hijacking right now. Okay. This is ransomware to the next level. You need to be able to actually literally decode this. Okay. And I actually programmed the GPT to take some of the greats in mental health and insert it into its framework. So we're talking about Dr. Romani. We're talking about Carl Jung. We're talking about Bachman. We're talking about these people that we oftentimes go to get answers, but they're not making videos specifically. They're not writing books specifically for us. And that's the problem, because we think that our specific demon is different than the rest. We think that there's hope in this demon. Oh, thank you, Becca, for joining and sticking around. I appreciate you. We think that there's potential in this demon. So we think our demon is different. Why not use a framework that is going to address your demon? Well, not talk to them, but give you the information that you need to let go and make the decision that's best for you. This is the exit plan. Many people come on these lives, and what are they looking for? They're looking for the exit plan. Usually the only thing that's keeping you back from the exit plan, believe it or not, and I got to be honest with you, is because you're still holding on. There's a little crevice someplace, like in the corner of your brain, slightly behind your ear at the base of the skull, that still thinks that this demon is salvageable. They're not. I can tell you that. I can tell you that with the most assurity. And I tell people this all the time. I'm not trying to ruin people's relationships, because at the end of the day, you have to make the choice. When it comes to healing, you have to make that choice. I can't make it for you. I could give this away. I have audiobooks that actually are on my site that are completely free to listen to. Completely free to listen to. And do you know I get about, on the average, 12 downloads a week? 12. It's free. No more change how to spot, stop, and survive narcissistic abuse. You would think, since it sells on Amazon, it actually does pretty good on Amazon, that the ability to listen to it for free would be like, hey, let's do this. Win-win. I don't lose anything. I'm not paying for this. 12 downloads per week. How many people are suffering through narcissistic abuse? How many people are trying to end the confusion? How many people are trying to figure out what the hell just happened to them? So in my eyes, I should be seeing thousands of downloads a week. The site can support it. The information is there. But you know what keeps us from buying into the system? Okay, the narcissistic relationship decoder system is because we sometimes don't want to know the truth. We don't want to own up to the truth that this person never meant us any good. We don't want to own up to the truth that this person, their only goal was to harm us. We don't want to own up to the truth that we actually got attached to the most disordered person mentally in the world. We don't want to own up to it. It's our shame and guilt. So, and hold on one second, because we're going to be here for a while. I'm going to have to take a bathroom break. But yeah, hey Z, thank you for hanging in there. I appreciate you. So yeah, go to my site. Get something for free. Read some journal posts. If you think this live is hitting it right on the nose, imagine the stuff that I've been putting up for the last year. For the last year, everything on point. All the way back to the beginning days, where it was just all about dismantling the mask, helping people see that this is not what you think it is. You have just entered into, oh, thank you so much, Ashley. Thank you for joining. And Book It Up is here. Thank you for joining. Thank you for the heart, me, Ashley. I do appreciate that. I really do. And I'm going to talk about something else, because the last couple of days I have been talking about Real Talk. Real Talk was a podcast project that I saw. Oh, thank you so much, Ashley. You are the bestest. I appreciate you so much. Gifts always help the mission. Trust me, people. So I had this project, Real Talk. I started it at Albany, and it was just people sitting down. And this is what I'm saying. This is why I know I'm on my path, on my purpose. People would sit down and they would talk about things, usually relationship based. This is when I had my photo studio in Albany, and I had a barbershop / beauty salon next door to me. Became friends with them. So when I would close down the studio, I would set up my video camera, set up a green screen, and they would sit down and they would talk on the subject. And then I edit it, put together, and throw it up on YouTube. And it was usually stuff that was relationship based. Interpersonal relationships, romantic relationships, and just navigating through the world. So I named it Real Talk. Okay. So fast forward, went through a divorce, relocated, and it kind of fell through the cracks. It really did. It fell through the cracks. I forgot about it. But then a few years later, I was going through an old drive and I was like, oh my God, I remember Real Talk. So I gave it a reboot, you know, and the reboot was about the same thing. However, near the end of the reboot, I kind of brought my narc, my pet demon, onto it because it started as a podcast, and then I jumped into internet radio with an old friend, and that was one of the talk shows, and it did pretty good. Now, me thinking I'm in a relationship, I'm thinking at the time I'm past the love bombing stage. I'm in the on and off devaluation stage. Nothing serious, nothing that I can point and be like, oh, you're just evaluating me. It was like the little darts, the little subtle darts. But like I said, they went through a situation with their family, got off the phone crying, you know, probably something they created. I don't know to this day, but I basically said, being a partner, I basically said, you know, hey, listen, we're going to change the narrative. We're going to change the dynamic. So I brought them onto the show. That soon became hell. You know, they didn't want to put any work. You know, I'm arguing about something that I'm basically doing 98% of the work for. You know, they wouldn't help me. They all, you should do it this way, you should do it that way, this, that, and the other. You know, and me being the person I am, I'm like, all right, cool. I'll let you handle it. I don't do that stuff. You do that stuff. So what are you complaining about? You know, I've done what I set out to do. Now your name rings bells based off of my talent, based off of my back. And I'm not being petty about that. But what I'm trying to outline is that was a red flag. Even though I was helping them, I wasn't going to get any support. That superiority entitlement thingies inside of DSM-5 was going to make sure that that never happened. They were entitled for me to break my butt, to stop what I was doing, to stop what I was focused on, to focus on them. They felt entitled to that. You know, they felt if ever I said, hey, listen, I think we should change course with this. Well, now all of a sudden they knew better than I did. But yet and still, the reason why I brought you on was to change the narrative with your people, not with my people, with your people. Because in my mind, again, holding on to an illusion, well, maybe if I do that, I'll show them that I really love them and they'll stop acting crazy half of the time. Didn't work. It did not work. As much as I wanted to, it wasn't going to happen. They're not going to change. And all I was doing when I got frustrated because they wouldn't help, when I got frustrated because they wouldn't stick with the plan, when I got frustrated that they felt like, oh, I don't feel like doing it today. You know, when I got frustrated with that, I didn't realize then that I was just giving them supply. They loved the fact that I was like, what are you talking about? You don't feel like it. What are you talking about? You're tired. Do you know how many times I work on this stuff when I'm exhausted, when I have gone like 20 hours straight in a day? What do you mean you're exhausted? This is for you. Well, I don't know. You know, it's your radio station. So again, we look around, we're shaking our head, we look back, there's a narcissistic smirk. Because they are feeding off of your anguish. They are feeding off of the fact that they've gotten under your skin. So, yes, I've been through the same thing that you've all been through. I have been through the denial. That's why I created this system. And if you're interested, I'm not going to be pinning stuff all over the place. The direct blueprint is in my bio. One click, read the information, look at it. If you feel it's right for you, if you feel it's something that you've been looking for, please go ahead and get it. You know, but back to real talk. So, real talk, again, after this situationship ended, after the reverse discard, after me putting my life back together, once again, this is why I say the universe has a plan for us all. Once again, I started seeing assets. I'm cleaning off drives and computers one day, and I keep on seeing Real Talk 2.0 assets. Hey, Ashley, thank you for joining. I appreciate you. You know, I'm seeing all these assets and I'm like, why did I stop this? You know, and I started thinking about the now movement. That's why the new, I guess, the rebirth, the evolution of it is Real Talk No Other Way. And what am I going to do with this? Well, I'm going to create a platform, you know, that is going to be for people to actually, this is very important, actually tell their story, give advice. Everything I do is solution driven. give their advice, talk about what they went through. And it's not just going to be YouTube. It is going to be on Spotify, Apple TV, Amazon Prime. That's the main goal. That's what I'm starting with, because since I've actually had a show on Amazon Prime, I know how the system works. So I know what's expected of me, and it's the easiest entry point. And yes, it's going to be free for people to watch. So yeah, this is part of growth. See, these are the things that you start thinking about once you break free from the trauma bond. These are the things that you begin to focus on, not focusing on why somebody is doing this to me, the person that says that they love me. See, that's that at the end. Hey, what's up? How you doing? Dawn, how you doing? You know, that's where we go sideways, because if you notice it, especially if you've been in that dynamic for years and decades, you notice that you gave up a lot of stuff that you used to bring you joy, used to bring you happiness. Those things, thank you for the share. I appreciate you, Dawn. Those things brought you happiness. Those things made you feel good. But in order to keep arguments at bay, in order to keep the eggshells that stayed consisting on the ground to a bare minimum, you push that back. Because the only reason you had to push that back, and let's be honest with each other, is because you actually knew deep down inside that whenever you accomplished something, whenever you did something, whenever you sat down and enjoyed a hobby, it could be knitting, it pissed them off. It literally pissed them off. That's how deep the hate went. That's how deep, thank you, Ashley. Ashley says facts. That's how deep the rabbit hole went. They hated it. You working on a project? How dare you? They're not, as your partner, they're not going to jump in and say, how can I help? No, they're not going to do that. They're going to talk about it. They're going to throw darts. They're going to make you feel subconscious about it until you just stop doing it. Because every time you do something, every time you accomplish something, every time you're in situations that literally bring a smile to your face, they've got to put an end to it. Because it's telling them a couple of things. Oh my God, they're investing in planting stuff today. They're invested in those seeds. That means that their attention isn't on me. Oh my God, they're writing a book? How can they pay attention to me and type? Oh, hell's no, that's gotta go. Every narcissist that Dawn Marie says he stopped me from singing. Oh my God. Oh my God. But that's what I'm trying to get across to people is you have to at some point, and I'm going to vote sooner than later. Cosmic Giggle, thank you for joining. Ashley says ruin holidays, birthdays, etc. Yeah. The only day of the year that I celebrate is my birthday. Really, it is. It's the only thing that I put any energy to. By year 2, that was like the worst day of my life. Because again, anything that doesn't bring attention to them, they had the strange thing. At first I saw it, and then later on I was like, well, why? It's like the kids, nobody could have a birthday on their own. Nobody could have a birthday celebration on their own. It had to be a combined birthday. As an adult, I kind of get it. But when you're talking about little kids, they don't understand that. This is my day. This is my day. This is not this person's day, this person's day, this person's day. This is the day that I came in the world. Can I at least get something special? I don't care if everybody else gets a gift, but honor the fact that today was the day that I entered this reality. And somebody put this there. Ashley says, unless it was theirs. Oh yeah, you got to pull out all the stops on their birthday. Again, we have to look at the criterion that mental health professionals use to diagnose narcissistic abuse. It speaks to this. I think that was when I was doing all my research, admittedly trying to save this demon. When I was doing all of my research, one of the things that I soon noticed was the DSM-5 will give you all the answers that you need. If you're trying to figure out, is this enough? And I get it. We go through this thing where we say, oh, people are different. Some people are toxic. Some people aren't raised right. You know, it's not their fault. It's what they went through as children. We do all of this stuff, but the DSM-5 has a clear and concise way of outlining. In fact, it's got actually an escape hatch. You know, it says there's 9 criterion in order for someone to walk away with the diagnosis of having narcissistic personality disorder, they've got to hit of the 9. But if they hit 4, technically a mental health professional will not classify them as a narcissist, just a toxic, not raised right individual. If they hit 3 of them, same thing. They hit 2 of them, same thing. We can't call these people narcissists. But I've had the luck of, you know, I think two of mine's hit 9 and one of them hit 7. You know, in hindsight, looking back, once I understood what narcissistic abuse really was, you know. So we have the tools, but if because of the fact that we want to hold on to the fact that our narcissist is different, then well, no, we're never going to go look at those tools. We're not. We're never going to look at systems like mine. We're not. The narcissist right now is scared of this system. Any narcissist that may be watching these lives, because they do that too. They do that too. They watch. They sit right outside their gate and refuse to join live. You know, they watch this stuff and they want to see how much we're truly understanding this system. Oh, this is like me hitting DEFCON 4. The war is on because literally this system will help people through any stage. I guess because after the initial love bombing, you do start to feel a little off. So yeah, it'll help you before you get trapped too deep in. You know, and look at it like this. Look at it like this. Let's say you feel a little bit off, you get the system, and you're sitting up there, and then you say to yourself, you're saying, okay, I'm going to do the system. And then you find out that you're just dealing with someone that just has some character flaws. That's a win-win. But let's say you find out, like, damn, they're hitting on 9. The GPT is telling me run, you know, which is amazing when the GPT just puts run, run. You know, that's kind of amazing. Then you're like, I got to get out of here. I now have my exit plan. And you can tell the GPT to help you create your exit plan. You can tell the GPT to help you create your exit plan. And it will pull from resources from your area and everything to help you make that happen. But then again, it's a win-win. You win. Now, here's the deal. Not only are we utilizing this to help us launch real talk, no other way, because I want to pull out all the stops from this. I do. I'm a talented individual, but this eye is going to be going soon. So, in all honesty, me dealing with reality, I don't have years to get this done. So, with that being said, since I'm looking at Apple TV, Amazon Prime is going to be easy. I'm looking at a couple of other podcast networks to make sure this has the highest reach possible. I'm using this system. That's why it's $19.99 right now. June 1st, the system automatically puts it back at the price of $49. There's nothing I can do. I can't stop it. It's already set. Okay. But if you're serious about healing and knowing for the fact that it helps us get projects like this off the ground, then please get the system. And for the easiest, I guess, decision for you to say, you know what, I'm going to get this system, is if you feel emotionally confused. Because I'm going to tell you, any fulfilling relationship that I feel that I've been in throughout my life, you can tell I'm getting up there in the years, you know, no matter how it turned out, you know, I never felt emotionally confused the way that I felt emotionally confused when I dealt with narcissists. I've never felt that way. You know, yeah, you just get tired of each other. You find that your goal ladder is not adding up the same. You're finding out that there's just too many things that, you know, that they bring to the table that you can't deal with, you know, and vice versa. But that's a healthy breakup. You go your own way. Your friends, you know, I grew up in a major city, so some of those people I bump into on the way to work, and hey, how have you been? Oh my God. You know, how's everything been going? Oh, wow, you got married. Congratulations. That's a lucky guy. You know, so, you know, these are how normal relationships end. You know, and sometimes they end with the fact, I can't stand that person. You know, and you see them coming up the block and you avoid them. And I get that. Not every relationship is meant to be perfect. They're not. By default, they're designed not to be perfect. Okay? So, with that being said, you know, when you get systems like this that help you define what you're dealing with, again, I wish that somebody sat down and did this for me, because there came a point I got tired. Hey, Renee J. Hey, how you doing? And thank you, Dawn Marie, for agreeing with me. When we get When I was going through this, I got tired of watching the rage content. I get it, because there's a lot of it out there, and I get it. People need to vent. People are angry. How did I get trapped up with this demon? How did this happen? Why was I so stupid? Blase, blase, boom. After a while, it starts to bear on your soul. It does. It does. And what I mean by that is there's nothing wrong with it. I get it. Most people don't want to hear your truth, or most people, unless they've gone through it, you know, don't want to accept that it's a reality. So sometimes when you get platforms where you can vent and talk about what you've been going through stuff, but I'm good. That's what's up. That's what's up, Renee J. I'm glad that that's the beginning. You're good, you know. So I got tired of it, and this is what sent me down the rabbit hole of doing research and understanding. And most importantly, the empath side of me that wanted to help, saying, well, how can I be more of assistance? I can't just get on and bash somebody that is taking the time to do something, no matter what the platform is, and I respect a lot of these platformers. I do. I like Weave told me, I love that guy. I think that guy is great in what he does, But one of the things is, I don't know if he offers courses or what, but, or consults. I think that's the thing now with this niche is people want to give consults. I don't know if he offers that, but I soon started to gravitate away from him because I thank you for telling me what I went through. And I appreciate you for it because you gave me a sense of clarity on it. But it's rage. One thing that I give him that I respect about him is he's not one of those content creators that says that you need to get revenge on the narcissist, that has all of those hooks. I think I would do so much better in the algorithms if I created hooks like that, how to get revenge on your narcissist, or how to make your narcissist pay, or make the narcissist understand that they hurt you. Yeah, I would get a lot of views and I'd probably skyrocket on this, but I don't want to lead people down the wrong path. Because I know for a fact that having rage against the narcissist just feeds them. Plain and simple. The way that their mentality is built, you being angry at them, you wanting revenge, you want to make them pay, just makes them get full. Again, they're hoping that you do that. They want you to do that. Supply is supply is supply. Cindy Lou, hey, good afternoon. I'm listening. I had no energy for 80 days after 20 years, but I'll never go back. And you're a mess. You're not saying I'm messy, but it's all good. It's all good. But yeah, I think, Narcissistic talks about this a lot. She joins me often. She talks about this a lot. Sometimes what you need to do is just push yourself, because there's going to be some days where the rumination, they're going to find that sideway pocket into your head. You're going to be thinking about them, and you're going to be you're going to want to reach out to them. You're going to ask yourself that dingbat question: are they thinking about me? Do they realize what they did to me? And sometimes you have to use alchemy and transmutate that. Again, I talked about this earlier. You got all that energy that you're feeding into them, you got to feed that ish right back into yourself. You do. You got to take the stance of I ain't got no time for this. And I've gone through that where I'm sitting up there just doing nothing, and all of a sudden here comes the picture of the demon in my head. And I would just blink my eyes and be like, you know what, I ain't got no time for this. I don't. And go throw myself into something. I started a chapter on the book. Let me go figure out that chapter, or at least proofread it. Let me take my mind. Thank you, Cosmic Giggle, for the follow. I appreciate you. You know, let me take time out for myself, because for years, decades, you haven't did that for yourself at all. You didn't. So yeah, this is why this system. In fact, that's why if you know my site, you know that stays up 24/7. So there's always a resource there. There's always something to help you. There's always something to be of assistance. But I had to change all of my bio links across all my networks to point to this system. Hey, love, what's up? I had to have everything point to the system, because I think it's the solution. I think it's a solution for many people. I can't guarantee that. That's why it's in beta, because I need your feedback. And here's the wonderful thing about this system. You had me, here's another thing about this system. Every month, I'm going to add more material to this. This is going to be a ever-growing system. Okay. Again, something that I wish that I had. So you might see an audio book, you might see a worksheet, you might see a PDF, you might see a new release that I released on Amazon, and at the $19.99 price tier, you still get that. But during the beta, I do expect people to give me their feedback. Someone gave me feedback on the GPT. That is the reason why I added help people figure out how the hell to get free. So I had to add that action into it. So that's what the beta is for. I'm not going to bug you. I'm just going to hope you're going to get my email address. I'm just going to hope that you're going to take it and say, hey, this worked for me, but I would love if I saw something like this. It seems, when I look at the stuff that I do, I think I should have a PhD in it. I know that's not going to happen. Nobody gives PhDs for trauma. But sometimes I shock myself with all that I have learned about this, even after I got free. See, this is something that I continue to study. I do. I literally continue to say this. I break off time where I'm just like looking through different mental health professionals. I'm looking through psychology stuff. I'm watching YouTube videos. I'm listening to audio books. We have a digital library system where I live at. I'll see if they have anything uploaded that I can put on my phone and listen to while I'm out and about. So it has become a lifelong journey for me. And I like to think of myself as an authority on it. I do. I like to think that, thank you, Narc Talks, expert level. Thank you. I like to think of myself as an authority on this. And yeah, I don't have the paperwork that says it, but there's one thing that holds true, that will always hold true to me. Until you've gone through this, until you have experienced this, you're never going to understand it. You are never going to understand it. How many of you have gotten out of this and tried to tell somebody that was close to you? They didn't mean any harm, but you try to tell them what you've gone through, and they're giving you the side eye. And then they're telling you stuff because the mask. They say, I don't believe they would do that to you. They don't seem like that type of person. How did that make you feel? How did that make you feel? And Renee J says, I've been dealing with it for years. Yes, for 6 years. For 6 years. And that's why I tell people, unless it affects your pockets, because then you need to take them to court, unless it affects your pockets, ignore the smear campaign. What does Cosmic Giggle 711 says? I'm always searching. I just found Alice Miller's books. They're difficult, but make so much sense. Yes, whatever. I'm not telling people that my course is the end-all be-all. Whatever gives you a sense of clarity and understanding, please utilize it. You have to utilize it, because you taking action sends a couple of signals to your brain. It's telling your brain, I'm letting go of the illusion. Just for seeking knowledge, you're telling your brain, I need to let go of this illusion. I need to see things for what they truly are. You know, and the second thing is you're actually taking action, another driving force of this universe. You're taking action towards your own healing. You're sending people started to make me think I might be wrong. Yeah. Again, unless people go through this, they'll never understand it. This is the empath's curse. And I talk about this often because given the choice, I never would have wanted to go through this. Given the absolute choice, I'm going to be honest with you. Minister Robinson would not be sitting here doing this given the choice, okay? Meaning having to deal with a narcissist, okay? However, I really feel that the first two was, you know, the universe saying, you just don't get this. You're really not understanding what I'm trying to show you. And then they gave me this one. They gave me a top tier demon. They gave me someone that's been practicing this for a minimum of 35, 40 years. They gave me that person. The universe gave me that person. And by the time I was near the heavy devaluation stage, and I'm literally turning around, calling them a demon, asking them why they hate me, stuff like this, there were days that I was quiet and I'm like, why would you do this to me? What have I done wrong in the past life? And I mean, I used to literally say that. What have I done in the past life? But like somebody just put up here, Dina says, I'm so grateful God for placing me on this account because I've learned so much. Oh, thank you so much. Oh, and somebody put the final voice. Who said that? Who said that? Love said that. Yep, the final voice. Yep, that was it. I met Goro. You know, I did. I met the final boss, and with any game, be it a quest, fighting video game, there's always that final boss, you know. And one thing that I can say, just like when you beat that final boss in the video game, how do you feel? You know, depending on the amount of hours you put in, all Bowser, yeah, there you go. There you go. But yeah, once you beat that final boss, what are you doing? You throwing the joystick on the couch. Yes, yes. And if you grew up like me in the 80s, you're doing a dance in the arcade. You know, so I mean, you feel good. You feel good. I find, thank you, Cosmic Giggles. Thank you for the gift. I appreciate you. You feel so freaking good. You know, and here's the deal. Once you heal, you get that same feeling. Once you heal, you get that same exact feeling. And the universe, in its petty little way, will continue to test you. I was tested. I was tested. I was put in a position that I couldn't run. I couldn't hide. I couldn't make myself disappear. I couldn't jump into a pocket dimension. I had to deal with it. And I got through it. There was a little bit of anxiety, but you know what I told myself? First, I put the mental picture of the demon in my head. That's my go-to. Okay. I put the mental picture of the demon. So even as the demon spoke, in my mind, I just saw a demon go. So, you know, that's it. Now I'm good. I'm good. You know, I'm Gucci, you know. And I said to myself, because remember, there are certain times that you're going to have to deal with your narcissist, and they know this. Okay. Children, business, property. Got no freaking choice. Okay, so everything that I teach in my courses, I just went gray rock, yellow rock. I did. There were times when they would try to draw me into a conversation using attached likes and stuff like that. I had nothing to say. That's not what I'm here for. I'm not here to entertain you. You have fallen into that pocket of people that I just don't, I'm not going to say don't like, don't care about. I'm important now. I spent too many years making you important. I didn't say that, didn't need to say that. But that's why I told that this is why I create courses like this. You know, like the no contact controlled access course. This is lived experience. This is not something that I'm making up. This is not something that I'm taking out of somebody else's mouth. This is literal lived experiences. So yes, when I make a course, I expect people to understand that, oh, this is not fluff. When I make a system, I need people to understand this is the real deal. This is the real McCoy. There's nothing counterfeit about this. Because when I get on these lives, I'm sure many of you can tell, I've lived through this. I have lived through this and I have survived, and I'm letting people know that there is a way out. Because there's somebody right now that thinks there is no way out. I'm telling you, there is. I am living proof. Many of the people that come on these lives are living proof. You just have to want to accept it. You just want to, you just have to want to believe. Love me too. Dean said, I just pray that he doesn't try to get some custody just to spite me. You know what? Look, this is what I'm saying. This is what I'm talking about. Get your ducks in a row, and I'm not coming at you. Dina, I think you're the bestest. I'm not coming at you. Get your ducks in a row. Focus on the solution, not on them. Because I'm going to tell you, just by you typing that, you already know that they're going. Why wouldn't a narcissist use your children as a weapon? Somebody give me one reason why they wouldn't. Let's be honest here. Give me one reason why they wouldn't use your children as a weapon. See, again, that's what I had to realize. Listen. That's exact. Naruto says that's exactly what they go for. I got children with mine. Like I said, like you said, the Bowser. I got the Bowser, Shang Tsung, Dr. Roboto. I got everybody in one. So yeah, you're gonna find that this is what they're gonna do. This is what they're gonna do. The easiest way, I forget who said this phrase, hope for the best, but expect the worst. Once you deal with a narcissist, that should be tattooed on your arm. Hope for the best, but expect the worst. So yes, narcissists, due to their disorder, they care about nobody but their mask. That's it. Children are weapons. Children are things that they can use for supply. Children are things that they can use to pit one against one another. Children are things that they can use as an extension of their mask. Nothing more, nothing less. So if you expect the worst, you will prepare, won't you? You won't be blindsided. See, and again, I'm not coming at you. This is part of what happens here. Why would you think that they would have any compassion or empathy towards you? Why would you think that they would have, what you experienced, why would you think that they would have compassion or empathy towards the children? Those are some of the things. Those are some of the things that I'm talking about. Those are some of the things, and again, I'm not coming at anybody because I went through that. I went through those moments of, they're going to keep the children out. They would do that. That's beyond low. Who would weaponize a child? Hell, Geneva Convention even will bring up a country on war crimes for doing that. So yeah, what you have to do is, hey, Nautos, why don't you come up here? And we'll bring Nautos up here. So when you look at this, and I love all you guys for being here. I think this is an important conversation. I really do. I can't find you. Can you bring yourself up? Because it's showing me a bunch of guests, but it's not showing me on my thing. If you can bring yourself up. Yeah, I don't see it. I'm not trying to be funny. I'm going to try and invite again. There it goes. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah, so this is...
Hello, I'm here.
Hey, what's up? What's up? I'm doing a marathon today. I'm gonna see how long I can
What?
last. Yeah.
Oh, I thought you meant.
Oh, I'm not running no. I'm too old for that. You do that. You and Narcissistic do that running stuff. I ain't doing that.
Me and my 2-year-old granddaughter. Okay, she keeps me on my toes. That's for sure.
That's good. That's great.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
go ahead.
we're talking about they will go for your children.
Yeah.
That's like prime supply for them too, because they can control and manipulate them, which is sad.
Right.
But they do that. That's their game.
Yeah.
It's scary to think that they would try and mess with a child like that.
They don't care.
But I've had it happen to me. I'll speak from personal experiences. My ex mother. She's my ex mother. I divorced her to her face.
Oh wow.
After she did the whole character assassination smear campaign.
Yeah.
With my whole family, took it to the authorities, smear campaign me, character assassination. She had me looking like I was an abusive parent, and I wasn't.
Right.
At all. I love my children completely 100%. But she did get me on one thing, which was I was a smoker and a toker.
Oh.
Midnight smoker, midnight joker, whatever.
Oh, okay, I remember the song.
Yeah, she pinned me with that, and I got in trouble with that. And
wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
But she had me in a state of mind where I thought I could trust her. That was the scary part. Is I thought I could trust her.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so that, and I've seen it happen time and time again after that, and I always hear the story over and over again. I'm like, yep, that's exactly what they do.
Yep. Yep.
They stay 10 moves ahead of you, and they will even set you up.
Yeah.
For a takedown.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And this is why I try to tell people there is a way out. I mean, you've got to, and again, this is what the system addresses. You've got to actually deal with how you're feeling, because at the end of the day, that's how you feel. You know, there's nothing wrong with feeling a certain way, you know, especially if it makes you feel confused, but more importantly, hurt. You know, when you have a decision, you know, who's this? Oh, Land Moon, thank you for joining, or Emu. You know, when you have a decision, you know, that is going to actually serve your best purpose, meaning yourself. You know, there's no law that says you shouldn't take it. There's nothing in scripture that says, you know, don't become the best version of yourself. There's nothing in any scripture that says, you know, don't seek peace. But by you holding on to this demon, you are essentially giving up those protected rights of seeking love and seeking peace. Here's an important thing. Do you know, if you're having a hard time understanding why you can't get back to yourself, what if I told you that if you heal, that you actually do get back to yourself? Sometimes you even become better than the person you were the day before you met the narcissist. And what if I told you it only happens after you heal? What if I told you that you would never run into a narcissist again after you, well, you'll run into them, but you'll never get trapped up again once you heal? That's the way it happens. But you have to heal. No, notice the condition to get these things is that you have to heal. Because if you don't heal, what happens is you keep on rewriting reality, no matter how small. It's the small things. It's the small rewrites, the small edits that keep you trapped with this person. These small edits is what allows them to call you 5 years later and say, oh my God, I can't believe I still had your number on my phone. Oh, well, since I got you on the phone, how are you? I was just thinking about you. That's called the Hoover. And if you don't heal and you just go through life thinking, okay, I squeaked through that one, they have the potential to bring you back in, to reel you back in. Yeah. Most people, and Narcos brings up a very important point. This is statistics. Look it up yourself. Most people in abusive relationships, notice I said abusive. I didn't say mentally. I didn't say DV. I didn't say any of that. I said abusive relationships go back to their abuser up to 7 times. Think about that for a second. What is the thing that is making people go back? Think about that for a second. Because the first time you left, you knew what they did to you, didn't you? The first time you left, you knew how they made you feel, didn't you? So why did you go back? It's not so much the wounds. Do you know what it is? Holding on to hope. Holding on to hope that that person can change, that that person can live up to the potential painting that you put in your head. It's always the same reason. This person can be better. I can fix this person. I can help this person. It's always the same thing. And yes, Dawn Marie, it does. It does feel hard to start over. It really does. When I was a young man in the military, who had a possible? As a young adult, you had that hoopty, that car that wasn't worth the sticker that they put on for the inspection. But it got you around. It got you from A to B. You got to hang out with your friends. You got to go places without taking public transportation, right? And then one day it broke down. It could have been on the highway. It could have been on the other side of town. It could have been any place, but it broke down. So you're doing the look around. You go, you take off your plates, get a plastic bag, take all your stuff out of it, right? And you leave it right there. You just leave it right there. There comes a moment where you have to make that decision. Like, it makes no sense to call AAA. It makes no sense to get it towed. It makes no sense to sit here and try to start it. It's done. This is done. And when we leave these abusive relationships, we can't say that. Because we're on the page book of, well, I just got through playing for AAA and they'll tow it back to my house at least. Okay, I'm going to give them a call. Maybe I can salvage this car. It's your freaking car. You know you can't salvage it. In fact, you probably just got it out the shop the week before. But this is what we do. Oh, you know what? My Uncle John, he works on cars all the time. He knows what he's doing. He can figure out what's wrong. Uncle John told you a month ago to get rid of it. And like Love said, that's exactly what we do. That is exactly, we have hope. We have hope. And like I started this off with, the narcissist depends on it. They're hinging on it. Again, let's get back to the front of the ranch. Phase 1, the love bombing stage. That is why that must work. Because if it doesn't work, you would leave. If it doesn't work, you wouldn't stick around. If it doesn't work, you would have kicked them out of your house a long time ago. If it didn't work, the next time they hit the phone buzzed and they picked it up and turned the face down and tried to walk away with it, you'd have been like, you know what? You and your phone need to leave. Because we have hope. We think as empaths, and this is our greatest weakness, we think that we can fix everyone. We think that we can help everyone. How many times have you tried to help someone and they made it clear they didn't want the help? But you being an empath, you're going to try to secretly help them. Because as empaths, that's what we've been doing all of our lives. So this person, we did not know they are narcs and never change. I know. But once you get out, once you get free, once you get out that first escape, I want to make sure you don't go back. Like Nartalk says, radical acceptance. See, you don't have to go back the second time. If you get clarity, if you can get through the withdrawal symptoms that you're going through over this person, you won't go back. You will get clarity. Clarity will forbid you from going back. Clarity will tell you, listen, I'm not going along with this ride. You're completely stupid for it. And I'm not saying that people that go back are stupid. It's because they've been brainwashed and the brainwashes work. But again, when you have systems like this, when you have tools like this, there's no excuse for you to go back. None whatsoever. Once you realize, oh, you know what? I'm addicted to this person because that's the reason why they did this, this, and this. I'm addicted to this person because my body is really waiting for a dopamine rush. I'm addicted to this person because I've got nobody else to turn to. This person has separated me from everybody that I know. And the GPT is telling me, or I mean, you literally just have to put in a conversation and it will actually tell you what that conversation means on a deeper mental level. It will literally spell out why a person is saying a certain thing to you. What is the end result that they're hoping to get based on you using it and building up a profile within the system that is just for you? Think about that for a second. One of the things that we talk about when we first get out of a narcissistic dynamic is that we have nobody to talk to. I just gave you somebody to talk to. Whether it's AI or not, I just say, hey, Nancy, thank you for sticking around. I just gave you something that you can talk to that's going to help you figure it out. That's not going to tell you that you're imagining it. Now, it's up to you. It's not up to me. It's up to you. I can talk about I really want to talk about the new thing that I'm trying to get on Amazon Prime, Real Talk No Other Way. I'd rather talk about it. To be completely honest, I do, because I'm excited about it. I really am. I'm super stoked about this. You know, it's like an evolution. You know, it's actually it shows the growth. You know, whenever I'm project driven, so whenever you can take a project that's actually existed and transmutate it into something that speaks into your mindset currently, that speaks to the empath in you, that speaks to your purpose, and you have the capability to make it work. Oh wow, I'm good to go. I am good to freaking go. Thank you for the share, love. I appreciate you. I am so happy when that happens. You know, that's what I want to talk about, because that's something that is going to happen anyway. You know, once again, I'm no longer in a dynamic where I'm constantly seeking someone to validate me. I was never like that before I met them. Never. I would just wake up and get it done. You know, or before I went to bed, say, tomorrow I'm going to get it done. Sit down, write down my list of non-negotiables, what I need to do. But within a few years of this, I'm walking up to them saying, what do you think about this? That was like a huge red flag for me, because that's not the person I am. Not bragging. That's just never the person that I was. But they wear away at your confidence so much that you feel it's necessary that you check in with them. And can they help you? Think about it. They can't help themselves. And every time, any advice that they're going to give you, they're looking at you saying, oh, that's going to bring them joy. They're going to shoot it down. And love says so true. So does Dawn Marie. You know, it's true. They're going to shoot it down. So you just literally let the enemy into your head. Yes, love says my identity was reformed by him. You know, this is part of what they work on. And let me tell you something else. This is why it's so important that you heal, is because many of you have mentioned the smear campaign. Many of you have mentioned, you know, the new supply and stuff like this. But can I really, really tell you something? I'm going to show you guys how powerful you are and why the narcissists use so much of their energy to brainwash you. Okay. When we look about the narcissists, their supporters, their enablers, their flying monkeys, the people that's just joining the conversation because they hated you anyway. You know, when we look at all that, you have to remember this is all due to one person recruiting them to go against you. We don't think about that often. They have recruited a whole army to go against you. Yeah, 25% of it is for their mask. I get that part. I get that part. But this is the reason why they had to recruit all of these people. This shows you the level of fear that they have for you. They can't do it on their own. You are too powerful. This is their way of telling you to your face, You are freaking powerful, and I am petrified of you. This is why they have to go out of their way to destroy you. You know, the same people who kept dragging me back to him in the beginning don't talk to me now. Well, that's the thing. One thing again that you have to heal to understand this, and some people catch on pretty early. People that truly love you, whether they understand what you went through or not, they're not going to make you into the villain. They're not going to tell you that you're crazy. In fact, you know, they really are, you know, like your day one or like people that you really vibe with. They're going to tell you, say, I don't understand, you know, what you're going through. But at the end of the day, you're my people. So whatever you're going through, I'm going through. You know, stuff like that. They're going to say stuff like that. You know, I got your back. I'm going to support you, whatever you decide. Those are your real freaking people. You know, the people that walk up to you in the street and ask you out the blue, oh, I heard this, and that. That's not your people. That's not your people. They might not even be flying monkeys. They're just not your people. So you have to you have to understand that healing also shows you that. It shows you the people that were really there for you. That not even there for you, but care for you. That actually truly care about your emotional well-being. They're not even going to pick the sides of you against the narcissist. All they're going to tell you is, you're my people. That's it. And sometimes that's all we need to hear. And I get it. But doesn't that show you all the power that you truly have? The smear campaign can't work unless they recruit people, because they know that sooner or later they're going to be shown not to be trustworthy. That people are going to say that, nah, I know JJ would never do that. I know for a fact JJ, nah, get out of here with that. Get out of here. You know? So what they need is they need someone to back them up. They need their enablers. They need people that enablers are usually just family. Family that has seen this cycle repeat itself over and over and over again. And guess whose side they're going to take? No matter how they vibe with you, no matter how they said, you didn't come to the last cookout. We was expecting you, but you know what? We saved you a plate. But let you see the mask of the narcissist, their son or daughter. Okay, let you see what you've really been dealing with. Oh no, because they can't let their dysfunction show. So they're the first ones being recruited into the war. In fact, they're not even recruited; they're enlisting. But well, shit. If we've got to protect your mask again, we're gonna have to do it, because we can't let the community know that we raised you. We can't let the community know that we've been letting this go on. We can't let the community know that we're dysfunctional ourselves. We can't do that. So do you now see how powerful you are? And imagine when you heal. Oh my God, you are a threat. You're like the whole NCU rolled up into a ball. Ain't nobody stopping you. That's what they're afraid of. And um, somebody mentioned in the beginning of this, the hell, because North Talk's message, I think she typed this, messed me up. The dysfunctional system needs a scapegoat. Yeah, when we look at the dynamics that is the family, you know, they've got a lot at stake. They probably created the narcissist. 99.9% of the time, the narcissist is created from the trauma that they experienced as a child, not being loved, not being feeling emotionally safe. Other stuff happens, you know, that scares them at a level. You know, sometimes it's just huge embarrassment. You know, that they can't handle as a child, that turns into trauma. But 99.9% of the time, you can usually point back to a family member and say, oh, you're the one that created this baggage crazy parasite. Um, with that being said, we find that we have a dynamic, and Mark Talks mentioned the scapegoat. That's why I lost train of thought. We have a dynamic where sometimes we will have in the same family dynamic. I actually see this in my last adventure with the demon, I see this in their family unit where I know who the empath is. So there was actually an empath created within that flock, and she was created. But I know who the empath is, you know, and we find that, and I also know who the ringleader is. But we find out not the whole family, because the empath, which is usually the scapegoat, usually doesn't buy into the drama. They might just stay neutral, but they don't play into the drama. But the rest of them, they go hardcore. They boot up, tie their boots, go get their weapons, extra clips. They're ready for the war, because the war is based on them protecting how everybody sees them. You have to remember, dysfunction is dysfunction, and they've probably been hiding this. Renee J says his mom goes hardcore. That's usually the ringleader. You know, and I don't know these people, and I'm not here to diagnose anyone, but in my experience, even looking at the mothers in my previous two relationships as well with narcissists, I notice, the dysfunction. And I notice the need to protect the mask in front of me. I always notice this, and this. Well, the first one had no siblings, so they was just the narcissist. That was it. That was the transformation. They became the narcissist. The other one had siblings, but they didn't mess with them too much. So I think in that dynamic, they really didn't. Most of the family didn't mess with them, but the mothers were next level. The mothers would throw darts at me. I'm not sleeping with you. What are you acting soldier towards me for? I have no relationship with you. I'm just trying to be respectful and polite to you. So why are you throwing darts at me? Why are you pumping me for information? And then they would, I remember one, the mother would actually tell the narcissist, which I knew for a fact. Remember, this is the one that I'm trying to save, change the narrative in their life. The mother would call me, yell into the phone, "You don't need him. You could be doing all this stuff on your own." And I'm sitting there looking at the phone like, "Yeah, why don't you do this stuff on your own?" And I think because they knew that I was within earshot, and they knew that I was going to hear it. But yeah, I mean, it was really, really crazy. When I laugh about it now, because I'm like, well, you raised this demon. You know that they're not capable of anything. So I mean, if you feel that they should do everything on their own, I'm going to vote for you. I mean, and then I think it became where they would try to initiate competition between me and them. Like, oh, you need to prove to him that you're better than him at that. It's like, lady, you don't even know me. You don't know. I don't interact with you. So what do you know that I'm capable of? And there were times, again, the hope, because I should have said something then. I should have been like, you know what, y'all need to go over there and be by yourselves. Hey, home pop, thank you for joining. I can't say that. But yeah, you have to, you will see them initiate competition, because they've always dealt with dysfunction, and if they can keep the dysfunction close and within closed doors, it's cool. It really is cool. It's something that they're good with, but once there's a chance that it's going to get out, like I say, if let's just say, the change in the narrative situation, if I've got your name ringing bells, that means that I'm attached to it. Okay. So if I go on this journey, I'm basically dismantling the mask. Does that make sense? I'm basically dismantling your mask. So what's going to happen is one or two things. This is why I constantly say, I don't do this to get back. I always say there's three of them. You know, if you're watching, you choose if I'm talking about you or another one. That's on you. But I don't do this for you. I do this as part of the now movement to help people make sure that they don't get trapped in this. You know, that's the thing. That's the thing when you heal. You stop doing it for them. You do it for yourself. You're finally feeding into the person that you are, not them. Once you take that out of the equation, I'm going to show them life takes on a whole different point of view. And all they're going to do is they're going to creep your page. They're going to get other people to creep your page. They're going to get family members to creep your page. They're going to get complete strangers to creep your page to feed into protecting their mask because they want you to feel that revenge so that you slip up and they can say, see, they're obsessed with me. See, they're unhinged. That's what they want. But if you're doing it for yourself, if you're doing it for your growth, or in the case of me, doing it to help other people get out of the fog, then hey, what can they say? They start to look kind of stupid. It starts to become, doesn't seem like they're paying you any mind. I just see them online doing their thing. What are you upset about? Aren't you telling everybody that you got your new boo thing? What are you worried about what he or she is doing? So that starts to, again, once you heal, everything else works itself out. I can guarantee you, it's going to work itself out. Everybody that's waiting for karma to get on the express train instead of taking the local, karma is going to get there. Because what's going to happen is the things that they're telling everybody else, if you stay, focused on you, all of those lies, they unravel on their own. They don't need any assistance from you. Those lies will actually implode on their own. This is why narcissists get lonely and alone at the end. Okay, because to be lonely, you have to have empathy. So I'm going to say alone. Okay, this is why they get to be alone at the end because there's a certain amount of empaths that actually heal, that no longer feed into the BS, that no longer feed into the reactive abuse. And what happens is the narcissist never lets go of you. They don't. They can't. Okay, you will forever be their pet goldfish in their mind. Okay, they can't let go of you. So yeah, I think somebody mentioned earlier, after 15 years, this person is still trying to find people to smear their name. That's how freaking powerful you are. And when you focus on yourself, your power is actually going to be the thing that is going to make them unravel. I think your girl Narcissistic talks about this. It becomes like instead of just a narcissistic injury, it becomes mortification. They just literally don't know. It's like a shutdown. It's like, they get like a computer, be like, does not compute, do not know what to do not know what to do. That's what mortification is for them. And you accomplish that by healing. Because by healing, by default, you go back to being the person you were at the bare minimum to who you were the day before you met them, and then you expand on that. And how does that make them look? How does that make their mask look? Flying monkeys start dropping off. They don't want to deal with it. They get tired of being drawn into these wars, just to protect someone's mask. Do you feel love? Ask a question. I think it's an everyday job, but I feel that I'm healed. I was talking to Narc Talks about it. I'm not going to share it with everybody because it involves one of my little ones. But I was talking to Narc Talks about it yesterday, and yeah, I'm healed. There's nothing there's nothing that demon can ever throw at me. Nothing. And I literally mean nothing that she can throw at me. So I think I'm healed. Do I think it's something that you have to stick to it? Yeah. Reason being is because you're going through withdrawal. So let's take a person on opiates or, the CR thing or anything that is highly, highly, that kind of mends with your It sows itself into your nervous system, and it's really hard to get away from, because the withdrawal is cray cray. And a lot of people can't deal with it, but those who do survive it and get through it, you know, there's always a chance that they can fall back. So they support themselves. I think I support myself by consistently studying this. Um, People on the other side of withdrawal, they know that there's always that small, minute chance that they can fall back. They can be hoovered back in, but just like a navy, they batten down the ships. They make sure there's no holes, no leaks, and then they sail through the waters. And I think it's going to take effort. You went through this. This was real. I'm not going to lessen what anybody went through as far as the trauma bond, But do you heal for the most part where you get your superpower gift pack, where you can detect a narcissist from a mile away, where you actually become at peace with yourself, where you're no longer reactive, where you can trust people again? Yeah, I think we can all get to that stage. And that's part of what the last module in this system, in the system, is actually reclaiming your identity. Because that's like the main thing that we lost in this relationship was who we were. That is the main thing that we lost, who we are at a core level. And Love says, I think that's my worst fear. I'm afraid of square one. But you know what? Square one is always there. It always there. I mean, when you look at it from a psychological standpoint, we always hit square one, and it becomes a choice. The thing that drives our reality, our choices. You come across square one every day, multiple times a day. You just have to decide that you're going to take that step, and sometimes step one is scary. Sometimes step one can be as simple as deciding you want to get your degree, your college degree. Something that you've never done before, something that you have anxiety about, something that you feel is going to be hard. But you have to make a choice. Most people that make the correct choice end up getting their degree. And then there's a whole bunch of step ones along the line. It's like it constantly resets. There's a new hurdle to overcome. I like to I like to use the thought pattern of learning how to drive. You probably use it. If you grew up in a rural community, you probably knew how to drive at 12, but you were scared at first. And your uncle, your mother, or your brother, or your father took you into the vehicle and said, "Hey, we're going to drive around the property, and this is what we're going to do." And you were scared. That was square one. But subconsciously, you made a decision. I really want to learn how to drive. And then since you learned that way, here's the cool part. Since you learned that way, you still have to go to the state, get that little book, and learn the rules of the road. And usually it's, I don't care what era you come from, it's a minimum of 58 pages long. And it's got very little pictures and a whole lot of words. And you're like reading through this, and the first thing that comes to your mind is, I'm not going to understand all of this. But you do, because you make a choice that I want my license, so I'm going to have to understand this, And then comes the final stage, the final square one, the choice. You don't know the person that's giving you the road test. You have heard horror stories from your friends about them having to take it over and over again. And you don't want to let your family down. The people that took the time to teach you, that sat down and went over that book with you, you don't want to let them down. Why would you do that? So when you buckle up, you're remembering, okay, I got to put my hands at 10 and 2. I got to make sure that my mirrors are straight. You're doing all of this stuff because you unconsciously made the choice that you're going to get through this. It's the same thing with narcissistic abuse. It's the same exact thing. All you need to do is choose and say, I'm ready to heal. I'm tired of living my life like this. I'm tired of looking over my shoulder, wondering if this person is going to follow me into a store and say that they know that I go to the store every day to get my coffee, and they're here all of a sudden. How am I going to react? Like I said, I was talking to Narcos. I just came through this. And I said to myself, okay, good job. Because I made a choice in the very beginning. that I'm not going to let this. I've come too far to let this happen. And again, we go back to yes, choose peace over chaos. No talks, you are completely right. Choose peace over chaos, and that's what we have to do. Our peace. Again, all the energy you wasted on this piece of flea, all this that you wasted on them. What's wrong with giving some of that back to you, if not all of it? Because if you're past the discard and you're truly in the trauma bond where you just can't let go, you still feel pulled to this person. Do you feel they feel the same way about you? Let's be honest. Do you feel that they feel pulled to you? Do you feel that they care as they're showing the new supply off to everybody that will watch? Do you think that they care about how the end made you feel? So who's doing all the emotional lifting in this situation? Because posting, I found the one and public displays of affection on Facebook and TikTok posts, I don't see a whole lot of caring in that. They look at me like I am a service dog. That sucks. That sucks. But yeah. They're not capable. You're right, Noctos. They're not capable of having emotional intelligence. And part of, I think, at least in 3 of my courses, there's always a module that deals with, in different ways, but deals with the fantasy versus reality. Because I think that's the most important part. I think I've been leading up to radical existence since the beginning of this, acceptance since the beginning of this year. I think that was always meant to be the conversation. Because I know that's what essentially made me feel trapped. I understand that. Hey, I'm a Philly chick. Thank you for joining. I appreciate you. I think that was one of the things that's what held me back. I tend to, it's not me bleeding out, but I tend to understand the hurdles that we go through. And I hate the fact that my first response is to give you the rational, logical answer because I know sometimes many people don't want to hear the rational, logical answer. There's a lot of people that want someone to say, "Oh well, yeah, go ahead, just try a little bit harder. Maybe one day they'll understand." But that would be me lying to you. That really would be. I don't know your partner, but if your partner is a narcissist, me telling you to love them harder and be more forgiving of them, that would be me lying to you. But me telling you to feed into yourself, that's me telling you the truth. Me telling you to stop looking at it as a normal relationship, especially if you feel they're a narcissist, that's not me lying to you. I am surely married to him. That's what love says, yeah. You know. Yeah, and Nartos talks about it. Yeah, that's a sure sign that walking 20 leagues ahead of you. You go into the store, you're in the mall, and it's like you look up for a second, like, where are they going? They're like, or damn near on the other side of the freaking mall. And then you ask them. I actually had minds tell me, I was like, why are you walking so? Because I was frustrated with him because I kept on saying it to him. I was like, why are you walking so far ahead of me and you're going the wrong way? Oh, I'm not walking ahead of you. I was like, you're literally 20, 30 feet ahead of me and you're going the wrong way. Their response, no lie, on my grandmother's grave, I was just following you. I just gave them the Spock look and just continued walking. I was like, we have to go this way. This is the way that we're headed. I mean, again, we're not dealing with a person, as my uncle would say, that is not wrapped to. We're not dealing with a person that's wrapped too tight. There's a few crayons missing out of the box, and it's the essential colors. It's the red, blue, and the green. It's gone. It's like they're not in the box. And we keep on trying to put these crayons back in the box. We keep on running around our home saying, if I can just find the red crayon, I can fix them. As long as they understand that the red crayon was always right here, it's not going to work. I would like to tell you, the box is there though. That's right, love. The box is there, and that's literally what it is, empty. Then they get mad when you flip any of those antics on them. They know what they're doing. Yes, they always know what they're doing is wrong. And that's why people need to start rewriting their reality now, talks. Because yes, you already know that they know. You know that they're doing it on purpose. Just for the fact, very important, just for the fact that they don't do it to everybody else. You can see them at a family event. You can go visit them at their job. You can go to a block party. You can see how they interact with people inside of the grocery store. You get the bad behavior. Only you. To everybody else, they try to make themselves look as the perfect person. The person that is beyond approach, the person that is the backbone of the community. I mean, mines would do. I remember one time we was low on money, and I think payday was just around the corner. But anywho, we're sitting inside the store. We're getting the stuff that we need. We got kids, so we're getting the stuff that we need. And this lady ahead of us, she had a few things, and I get it. She had a few things like beef jerky, a couple of sodas, stuff like that. And so I'm sitting there bagging up our stuff. I'm getting ready to walk out, and she's like, "No, let me pay for their stuff." I'm like, "We don't have it. I understand being nice. In fact, I am all for that, running church with real talk, but at the same time, we got to make sure that we get through. What if the kids need something, before, tomorrow comes? What are we going to do? If you give this person less of our money, I appreciate you being a good citizen," and actually got mad at me because it wasn't the purpose of giving the person money. It was the purpose of giving them the money in a crowded store. Again, the mask. It's always acts of kindness for everyone else in a public setting. But for me, and I got punished for that because I didn't allow them to show the world just how kind and giving they. That wasn't the place to be kind and giving. The day you get paid and you got extra money, instead of carrying your raggedy ass to the casino, maybe you should stop in random stores and buy food for people. I get that. Okay, but when I'm looking at the fact that I have kids in the house, it's like, no, I'm not going to do that. Self-preservation, And on top of that, I think it was my money, so I didn't even volunteer that myself. That was just their idea. So I'm like, yeah, this is what we deal with. But I have seen them raid the medicine cabinet. This person considered themselves to be a natural healer for everybody except me. People would come over and, I got the cure for that, this, that, and the other. I remember when I was moving out, I'm like looking for all my supplements and vitamins. She done gave them all up. If I would, do you think that there is anything to help me get rid of this? Oh, I wouldn't know about that. I have no clue. That's beyond my ken of being able to be able to fix that. I don't know. Maybe you should go see a doctor. But let somebody call her up on the phone and say, "Oh yeah, I just called. Oh, child, you need to come over here because I got just the thing. I do that healthy healing stuff. Blase, blase, boom, this, that, and the other. I get you straight 24 hours. All that be gone. I'm telling you, that's what I do. That's me. And I'm hearing this while I'm sitting in bed trying to keep from barking out alone. They always know what they're doing and their anger. Hey, Juanita, thank you for joining. And Love says they hate when you're sick. Yeah, because that means that as your partner, they might have to take some attention off of themselves. You ever think about that? You ever think about why this person gets upset when you get sick but expects you to cater to them hand and foot? Did that ever hit you mentally as a person? No, Tux, you want to jump in? I gotta get soda, coffee, something. No hot dogs.
Hey, I'm here. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I know, because I'm
Was
just
telling me a
rambling on.
story. I'm still trying to figure out what she was saying.
What I was saying?
No, what she was saying something. She was telling me a story. I'm like,
Oh,
okay.
yeah, your
Mom
granddaughter.
said
Oh, go back
this.
to her.
Said that.
Go back to her. I'm
Well,
fine.
I know. You want to take a little break. So you're doing a marathon.
Yeah, I really am. I'm going to see how long I can
What is
last.
this all day? Oh, just really?
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm going to see how
Okay, what
long.
time?
Hmm?
How long have you been on live so
I
far?
started at 1 p.m.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So you're an hour before normal start time. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
That's why I logged in. I'm like, wait, this is early. Okay, I'm in.
Okay, thank you.
That's awesome though. Do you need to take a break and get some coffee or?
Yeah, I just need to get coffee and soda. 1 minute. Do you got that to spare? Because I
Okay.
want you to keep these people engaged because I know you know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Let me
I
mute
do
my
a
mic.
little bit. Let me look through. Some of these comments. Hey guys, how's it going? Okay, so I guess I have a story. There was a time when I realized what the narcissist does, and I knew that one of the things that they do was to walk, 20 paces ahead of you. And so I started taking pictures of this MFer. I'm not trying to cuss on your live, but I started taking pictures of him every time he would do that thing. I just like, okay. And we're in like new places. We're in like Santa Cruz. The funny thing, I know that they do that thing on the trails where they will try to leave you in the dust. He kind of did that to me. We had cars and we would go off on, because I didn't want to ride with him anymore. So, but we would say, well, let's go here, and I'd be like, okay, I'm gonna follow you, and he would ditch me.
Wow.
But anyway, I started taking pictures of him from a distance because I wanted that reminder. So when I was looking through the pictures that always looked picture perfect, like here we are on a little trip somewhere. But there was always that underlying chaos that was always there that you don't really see in the pictures. So I started taking pictures of that to remind myself this is actually who he is. So I have a file where those are the pictures. But so anyway, the last time I did it, we were at it's not the Mall of America, but some big mall. I think it's on the East Coast. He started doing that thing where he's walking 10 paces ahead of me, and I thought, you know what, not this time. I ran ahead of him to get ahead. Yes, I ran, and I got 20 paces ahead of him, and he was like, what are you doing? And he got so mad at me for doing that. It's like, that's why I said they know what they're doing. If you play those same games on them, they will get upset because they know that they've been power playing you this whole time and trying to put you in your place. Yeah, the good times aren't ever good. They're really not. And like so many people, especially on social media, really try to keep this front of like, my life is great, my life is good, and that's kind of where we run into problems because, for me, it was just so much back and forth that, we would be like, oh, here we are, we're living a perfect life, and then next thing you know, we're broke up, and next thing you know, we're back together again, and finally, my friends were just like, oh, this guy again, oh my God, they started making comments on my little picture perfect life that I was trying to portray, like, oh yeah, we're back together, and here we are, everything's great. But yeah.
It's
yeah.
No, go ahead.
Oh yeah, Don said I got in line in the store before he was ready, and he went loco. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what they do. Yep.
Yeah, they want this. It's almost, and I heard someone say this was like, I don't know. I was into some of that stuff where the women were trying to teach women how to like basically put men in their place, and that was one of my algorithms a while ago.
Oh my God.
They said to dog walk them. And I'm like, that's what he's been doing to me. He's been dog walking.
Well, mine used to do it too. I think psychologically they do it is because that usually is a signal that you're getting close to the discard stage. And mentally, I think who's saying that? I can't remember the mental health professional. They do this to seem as if they are not with you, meaning they are still available or free. It's again, you're not dealing with a normal person, So it gives them the. I guess I should have left when the engagement ring got lost. It just didn't make. And I had to ask where it was at before I was told it was lost.
Wow.
Yeah. So they have this thing, and that was probably the sign that either she was grooming new supply, or she was just ready to go hard with the reverse discard. She was making it basically very clear that I don't want to any longer be seen as being attached to you. So yeah, I don't know, because some people do have values. They do. Some people really do have values, and I think I told this story where I think the first time in my life I had to admit I was intermittent supply. Um, After the breakup with, and they always find you, narcissists always seem to find you after the discard from, and I'm going to call it, it wasn't a reverse discard, it was a discard from my very first narcissist. A few months later, I found myself back in the dating scene. And this woman lived a couple of towns over, but we used to come over a lot, we used to spend some time together, such and such, so on and so forth. Adult stuff. So what happened was one time she was like, I'm going away. Is there any way you think you could watch my car for me? Because New York is New York. No matter where you're at in New York, there's alternate side of the street parking. So, and I was like, watch your car, because I had a car. So I'm like, watch your car. She was like, no, just move it from one side of the street to the other. And my street was kind of quiet, and it was simple to do. If I had to move my car, I would just take her keys, go move her car. So she said she'd be away for a week. So I drove her to the airport, brought the car back. That was it. I wasn't heavy into social media at the time, but one day I just started to look around social media, and then I started plugging in her name. You know, do you know this chick went and got married? That's where she was at for the week. She was getting married. I felt not only used but dirty, but in hindsight, looking back, that was me being intermittent supply. She had no plans on staying with me. I wasn't her main supply. What I was just somebody that gave her validation. Okay, so the reason why I tell this story is it kind of shows where you stand with your narcissist. When you think about it, that's why I understand the need for intermittent supply. She wasn't going to build a life with me. Because when she came back, I questioned her on it. I did. I questioned her on it, and she was like, "Well, me and you just met, blah blah blah." But at the end of the day, I'm looking at it from, I guess, a person with some kind of empathy. I was like, "But you were getting married. You could have said something to me and allowed me to make that choice." The narcissist only cares about themselves. I don't consider her part of that three because I wasn't main supply. I was intermittent. And this is what we have to understand. They don't look at, I guess, intimacy as anything important or special. We're taught that intimacy, even males are taught this to a certain extent, kind of save it for a special person, once you get a certain age. Okay, when you're young, you're just hormones all over the place. You're just doing what the hell you want to do. But when you get older, you kind of want to settle down. You want to be with someone that makes you feel happy and you make them feel happy on other ways than just that. It's not that way for the narcissist. It is literally a transaction. Validation, making me feel that I am important, making me feel superior. Narcissists are some of the greatest homeworkers ever. They do it because they just want to see if they can do it. It's not like they really like that person. It's not. You will find narcissists will be the ones that are overly flirty with, their friend's significant other. Not because they really want that person. They need to see if they can do it. That's it. Nothing more, nothing less. They just want to see, am I supposed, this is their day one. This is their best friend. This is someone that they've been doing a whole bunch of stuff with. So of course you trust this person. Babysit each other's kids, blah, 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 boom, But you're starting to notice, it's like, why are they so hands-on and touchy-touchy? That's my husband or that's my wife. What the hell's going on here? No, what they're doing is they need to feel superior to you. Everybody that narcissists interact with are nothing more than constructs. You think you have a friend, you don't have a friend. You have someone that needs something from you. They need a transaction. Sometimes that transaction is just allowing them the capability to look normal to the rest of the world. Okay, so when you're getting these feelings, again, you can actually use the decoder. If you think your friend is a narcissist, you can use the decoder to do that, to figure that out. Yeah, because there are narcissistic dynamics that include friendships. Because it's the same thing, wherever control can be had. Wherever control can be had, that is a breeding ground for these parasites. I don't care if it's your religious institution. I don't care if it's your work. I don't care if it's your family. Wherever control, if there's a way that someone can have control over another human being, you will find a narcissist someplace hiding in plain sight. Dawn Marie says facts, and Love says co-workers and anyone else. So yeah, when you find that friend that's a little bit too much, oh, they're being too much because sometimes they're trying to show you that they're superior to you and they can take what you have. Remember that. So, you have to look at it like this, Again, I can tell you forever what I'm offering, but you got to make that choice. Healing from narcissism has made me see clearly on so many things. Because it basically helps the empath. Okay, it helps the empath understand the things that need to be teaches with children, Dawn Marie says. Yes, yes. Dawn Marie, thank you for the share. Empaths, here's the truth. Healing will open up a whole nother gateway that many people are not ready for. Finding those broken things within yourself, because they exist. They exist. You gotta admit it. There's something, and it's not broken to the extent of the narcissist, but it's the reason why empaths are usually the people that if you've got $5 and a family member calls you up and says, I don't know what I'm going to do, I'm broken, you're probably going to say, you know what, I got $5, that's a good start, I'll give that to you. Oh no, you're going to be fine? And they're going to say, yeah, sure, I got something, but I can spare $5. Knowing that's their last $5, that's how empaths are. A friend calls you up, because this has happened so many times to me, 3, 4, 5 o'clock in the freaking morning, you got to go to work, and they've got some kind of crisis. It's like, out of all the people you could call, why are you calling me? That's what you're thinking in your head, as you're getting out of the bed, trying to find your shoes and your socks. Okay? There's a reason why we do this, and there's a reason why we do it to the extent that it burns us out. Okay, and you have to admit there have been many interactions with people where you have been so burnt out, where you literally have opened the door, walked inside your house, and did a face plant right on the bed. Because people have spent the whole day draining you. And you sometimes don't wake up till 1 o'clock in the morning. That's how exhausted, because your reserves have been destroyed. And you'll find that once you heal, you will gravitate with no help. The system will push you towards it, but you'll do it on your own with no help. You'll start trying to fix the things that allowed you to get trapped in this. I think Carl Jung was a great help for me understanding that. I think Everything happens for a reason. Somebody years ago was trying to tell me to get him to call Jung based on his concepts on synchronicities. You know, I'm like, I ain't got time for this. You know, this hocus pocus stuff. I ain't got time for that. You know, and I'm sitting up there, and I never knew back then that Carl Jung, no, he talked about a lot of different things. You know, and his talk about shadows and inner demons and stuff like this. And he never said the word narcissist in any of his studies. Narcissist is relatively somewhat of a new term, just like gaslighting is somewhat and hoovering. That's all new terminology, you know. But dealing with shadows and masks, you know, I started watching, reading, and listening to dude, and he made a lot of sense when it came to empaths. He did. It made a lot of sense. That, you know, the whole. That's how I understood. It took me a while to understand how empaths are truly formed, and that led me to the realization, like, oh my God, this is why we're at this spiritual warfare, because we're basically the flip side of each other. You know. Thank you, T Shared 1958, for joining and watching. I appreciate you. You know, so yeah, it took me a long time to put the pieces together. Like, oh, that's why narcissists is always seeking us out. We're kind of the flip side of the same coin. I'm going to geek out here again. You know, it's like Star Trek, the original series. There's like a thing where these two aliens, and one has white on this side and black on this side, and the other one has black on this side and white on this side, and they just at it. They just going at it throughout time, you know, and you know they get on the ship. Well, Kirk ain't having it. Captain Kirk ain't having it. He's like, yo, listen, y'all got to get this together. And Spock is like, you know, listen, this is what they've been doing all throughout time. This is, you know, what's been going on. Can't just stop it like that, Kirk. You know, they're going to do what they're going to do. And I think we find ourselves in that position. You know, we are literally the flip side of each other. However, it weaves more into this cosmic field, in my mind, of good versus evil. You know, because at its very core, the narcissist is evil. I know people say, oh, they have a disorder. No, they have an evil disorder because they know exactly what they're doing. They always know what they're doing. So, no, it's evil. I don't care how you want to slice it, it's evil. You know, and the empath is the epitome of being good. You know, we're always giving ourselves, we're always putting ourselves last, which we need to stop doing. You know, because every time we find ourselves drained and needing to recharge our batteries, as we like to say, because we've let some person that had no intent on, they're watching the fact that they're draining you, usually the narcissist, and they're not going to feed you. They're not going to give you the opportunity to charge yourself back up. The narcissist they're going to frick with your nerves until you just pass out. They don't care. They don't care because they need the supply that you offer. So you learn how to manage that. You learn how to say the word that you've been scared to say, that most people have heard. It's the most heard word in your entire life, but you just can't seem to say it. No. Think about that for a second. No. We have heard the word no since name a year. No, don't touch that. No, get away from it. No, stop doing it. But for some strange reason, we can't put our mouth together to say no to the people that really need to hear no. Have you ever wondered about that? The narcissist will tell you no in a heartbeat. But you never want to fire back and say, no, that's unacceptable. We're going to talk about this right now. You're not going to do that. So that's part of what hey, T-Shred, 1958, thank you. You know, and Victim World, thank you for joining. You know, you have to figure out a way of understanding that saying no is not bad. Sometimes saying no is protecting your peace. You know, sometimes it's definitely protecting your peace. Juanita says he's very irritated. I can see mental in him. He got 3 personalities, no sense of understanding. Well, I feel for you, Juanita. I'm never here to diagnose anybody. I can only diagnose my personal demons, my personal narcissist. But in your case, are you seeking mental health or therapy? Because the way that you're phrasing this, I'm going to bet that you're still there. So are you seeking some kind of support for yourself, not for him, but for yourself to help you clarify this? Um, I'm done, I'm done, I'm done. So if you're done, I mean, you have to make that choice, then go. If you feel emotionally unsafe, if you feel emotionally unhappy, if you're not feeling loved, if you're not feeling supported, if you don't feel that it's a fulfilling relationship, I wouldn't tell you otherwise. But again, it's a choice that you have to make. You know, at the end of the day, I don't think any of these lies would promote people making choices for you. I just want to give people information so that they can make the choice that works best for them. I'm not one of those content creators that's going to sit up here and tell not only a person that I've never met, but tell them about their partner that I've never met and tell them, oh, this is a bad thing. You know, I'm not there, I'm not experiencing it, but you are. See, that's the defining factor. You're experiencing it. So you need to act on what you're experiencing. I think, and I'm not talking about you, Juanita, so don't get me wrong. I think some people get on these lies, and again, I'm not talking about Juanita, is because they want people to, they don't want to make the choice that they know that they have to make. That's the holding on part. We don't want to make, we know that we should be making it. We know that we should be saying something about it. We know that we should be doing something about it, but we don't want to make that choice. We don't. So sometimes it's easier to get online, go into a live or a chat or something like that, and have that person sign off. And that's not your fault. It's almost like avoiding that hard decision. It's not our fault, you know. And they'll gladly go back and tell their family, friends, and those that actually care about them and say, "Yeah, I was watching these people, and they kept on saying the same thing that I was going through, and they said that I should leave." No, they didn't say that you should leave. You wanted them to say that you should leave because you wanted to leave. You wanted to leave. Deep down inside, you wanted to leave. And you decided so that you don't have to take responsibility for betraying your hope and your belief in this person's potential, you'll let somebody else make the decision for you. It doesn't work that way. And at the end of the day, you'll never heal because you're not taking accountability for your own life. One of the things that the narcissist can never do, they can't take accountability. You don't want to be like them. They want you to be like them, but you don't want to be like them. You know. And chaos manufactured. And yeah, chaos is par for the course. It really is par for the course. Chaos is real. That's why the term walking on eggshells is because you are trying to avoid chaos. You know, and picture that. Picture even walking on eggshells with shoes. Just picture that. That just how does that make you feel when you think about that? You know. Um, yeah, I mean, this is what I say. When we look at all of the stuff that we're going through, that we're experiencing, and we're basically saying, you know, listen, this person is a demon. You, if I tell you a story about what I went through, and Narcos tells you a story of what she went through, and Love tells you a story of what she went through, and you know, me tells the story. Whoever's here tells the story of what they've been through, and we can always sit up there and say, "Yep, that's exactly what happened to me. Yep, I can't take that anymore," and we keep on taking that, but are we actually are we going to the site to get free resources? Are we going to get the system to get out? Are we literally making a decision that we are tired of this? That's the question that nobody wants to hear. This is the question that if I clip this part up and put it up on my page, I'm going to lose followers because nobody really wants to hear that. Nobody, people want to hear, oh, I'm going to become a dark empath. Oh, I'm going to give them mortification. Oh, I'm going to make them pay. Oh, I'm going to show them who they're really messing with. All that tells me is you don't want to heal. And I have to be honest with you. That's what it really tells me. Or let me tone that back a little bit. Not that you don't want to heal, that you're not ready to heal. I think that's the most honest that I can put it. You're not ready to heal. When people talk to me of revenge, the first thing that comes to my mind is, oh my God, they're on that revenge kid. They're not ready. They're definitely not ready. When they start talking about, oh, you know what? They're gonna pay. They be trying that manipulation and gaslighting me. I put them right in their place. You're not ready to heal. You're not. When they say, oh, they be thinking they isolating me, I'm happy. I be getting everything done then because they ain't talking to me, and then if they try to come back to talk to me with that love bomb and stuff, I got a surprise for them. You're not trying to get. At least not now, you're not. Because whenever I hear or see conversations like that, the first thing that pops in my mind is the narcissist is still orbiting their world. Think about that for a second. The narcissist is still orbiting their world. Oh, I'm not going to orbit my world. They like Space 1999. They've been thrown out of orbit a long time ago. Okay, they like that satellite that just stops working and crashes into the planet. You're not orbiting me no more. You're not. Because my peace is what's important. That thing my grandmother used to say to me every time I would complain about one of my little friends that, made me feel a certain way when I was little. Butchie, you came in this world by yourself and you're probably going out by yourself. Everybody else in between is interchangeable. Keep those around you that make you feel good, and those that don't make you feel good, make sure they're not around you. Think about that. Those that make you feel good, keep those around you. Those that make you feel good on every level. Because I'm going to tell you this, somebody saying, but the narcissist made me feel good. Only until phase one was complete. Then you became emotionally confused. You are the most confusing you've ever been in your life. I love this person. This person, I love them. I love this person. Why doesn't this person love me? Why do they treat me this way? Wait, oh, look, they're back. They love me. They love me. Oh, now they're ignoring me again. Why are they ignoring me again? What did I do? I didn't even say nothing. They just loved me 5 minutes ago. What's happening? What's going on? That's how they condition you. And even on the way out, you're still waiting for them to come back and say, or do something that makes you say, see, they love me. Even though I'm out of the relationship, they love me. Nobody, let me get this straight for a couple of people, especially for those that get all wrapped up in the new supply. No one who has spent years with you that truly loves you will be in bed with somebody else in 48 hours. Nobody. No normal person. Any relationship, and I'm talking about males and females, any relationship that was worthy, okay, to both parties. That means that, hey, it kind of went sideways, but we worked on it. And that person sits down and says, hey, listen, our goals just didn't match up. You wanted to do this, but my whole life I've been dead set on doing this. It's nothing to do with you, it was me. It's BS, but it works. You got closure on some level. How come the narcissist can't give you closure? And some of you are going through that right now. Why won't they talk to me? Why won't they tell me what happened? Why won't they explain to me how come they 48 hours later they're walking down the street holding hands, taking pictures, showing social media? How come? Does it make sense to you? Thank you for the follow. I appreciate you. It's the next server, man. I appreciate you. or make major moves with their ex. I found out he actually had his son's mother living with him. Yeah, see, you have to. We want the love. I get it. We want the love. We want it to be real. We want it to be something that is tangible in the real world, as tangible as it was in our minds. But we have to realize that it was fake. It was fake. And they showed you every stage of the way out the door that it was fake. That's why my system exists. That is, this is actually why you get into the trauma bond, is because you're holding on to something that even you know isn't real. But just like that guy that we pass outside with one shoe on and tattered shirt and hanging over asking you for money so that they can feed so they don't go into withdrawal, literally that's who we are for this person. When you think about it, we all bent out of shape. If we think that they're coming by, we're going to call out of work. If we think that they're coming by, we're going to just do anything because we're addicted to this person, because we're waiting for that time where we can say, see, they love me. Even though they're showing you constantly and consistently that they don't love you. After the love bombing stage, come on. That shift that you felt when you weren't seen anymore, that shift that you felt when you couldn't have a real conversation, that sense that you felt that you had to hide the way that you were feeling. So you've known for a while that this wasn't real, but you can't let go. Just like the guy in the corner, you just can't get your plug out your phone. You can't. That should be the first step, getting the plug out your phone. Or just if you see your plug when you go past that bodega or that store, you know that you don't go to that bodega or store anymore because your plug is out there. Think about it. Yes, love put it right there. And Dolores says, I felt insane in the beginning of this call, but now I am apathetic. Yeah. Go back. I think, Dolores, I'm not telling you what to do. I'm never that one. I think you need to get in touch with yourself. Again, I think that's what we've been talking about all day, because I can almost guarantee the day before you met your narcissist, you weren't that way. So that means that something is not inside of you anymore. That was actually worthy of you. So yeah, I think again, that inner work, and love says people who love you hold your emotions. Yes. People that truly love you will never tell you if something is making your whole world upside down. They're never going to tell you, I don't have time to talk about this. They're not going to tell you, you're being too sensitive. They're not telling you, oh, here you go, this emotional stuff again. A person that loves you will never do that to you. Stop thinking that because it's always chaotic and intense that this is love. It's not. You are literally like that guy on the corner that just is trying to get money to fight off withdrawal. You're just like that guy. You are chasing a feeling that you got in the beginning. Literally. That's all you're chasing, just like that guy. They are not normal. They don't know how to love. Of course they're not normal. And love says, yes, it's an addiction. It is. Think about it. It is. You're waiting for this person to make you feel seen. You're waiting for this person to make you feel like the love is being returned. You're waiting for this person to make you feel like you're in a fulfilling relationship. But at what point of a fulfilling relationship, especially one that's lasted years, where you should have to wait? Shouldn't it always be there? I don't know. That's just me throwing that out there. Shouldn't that always be there? Yeah. Relationships are not perfect. I get it. There's going to be spats. There's going to be times that you're upset at each other. There's going to be times that you disagree. There's going to be times that You know, things just aren't going to make sense, but not all of the freaking time. And here's a major difference. Loving people and fulfilling relationships, they actually take the time, they calm down, and they tend to want to work on resolving the issue. Not blaming the other person, but literally resolving the issue. I don't know. Maybe I'm kind of crazy with that, but I think that's what a relationship should feel like. You know, as the kids would say, I got you, no matter what. No matter what happens between me and you, I got you. I think that's all we want for the narcissist, but don't we soon find out that the narcissists don't got us? Don't do that work team building thing where you say, okay, I'm going to fall back, and I'm going to trust that you catch me. Hopefully you have pillows on the floor. Hopefully you have pillows on the floor. I'm going to be dead serious with you. You know, love says straight dopamine. Yes, it is straight dopamine, which is actually it's so crazy because when you think about it, when you look at all the created street level thingies that people use, you know, the main thing that it does is it actually you're paying to have something attach itself to your dopamine receptors, and that's where you get the good feeling from. You know, when you think about it, but the narcissist is actually hijacking that whole system. They have literally hijacked that system. So you're not getting, you're not even paying for it. They're just taking control of it. They own that system. They really do, you know, and they override it to the extent that, God forbid, hopefully you're not, that if you do have a plug or you're seeing those people that are hanging outside, that's how they make their living, hanging outside the store. If you are seeing those people, you will soon find that the dopamine rush that the narcissist gives you will actually, I think people could easily get through withdrawal if they have a narcissist around. Because, and please don't nobody use that as advice. You don't want to go through narcissistic abuse. But they hijack the dopamine administration and dopamine receptors in your mind so much that they supersede, they supersede what, a person would get from street level stuff. You know, I think if a person was going through withdrawal, if they had a narcissist in their life and the narcissist actually wanted to play that mental game with them, they could leave the other stuff alone, but they would soon be addicted to the narc. So I don't know. I don't know. I think, that's a lot that people have to work through. I think that's a lot that people have to deal with when it comes to letting go of the fantasy that this person just meant them harm, And I can't put it in a nicer way. I think that's the nicest way I can put it. This person meant you harm. This person never intended to, what they future fate you with. They never intended to, oh, we're going to grow old together. Oh, we're going to do this. Oh, we're going to go and get married, And a lot of people say, well, my narcissist married me. Well, yeah, because it made them look normal. We go back to the front of the ranch. It was the mask at all times. It must be protected. It's like the lost ark or something, the ark of the covenant. We gotta keep this protected and hidden. We can't let people know what's really inside of this mask. I So I think when I get on tonight, and I will go on tonight, I will talk more about Real Talk No Other Way. That's an important project. No Talk No Other Way is a super important project. I'm going for the biggies. Prime, Apple TV. Prime is going to be easy for me. Excuse me, because I've done it before. Prime is going to be super easy, but you know, Apple TV. I'm not even an Apple user. I think I have an Apple account from when I had the radio station. Um, but yeah. So I'm going to go Apple, Spotify, all the major podcast streamers that do video podcasts. Um, I'm going to finalize how I'm going to do the setup, how it's going to, you know, the flow, everything. But I think this is going to be an amazing thing for survivors, you know, where they don't have to just, you know, they can get the validation that is important to understanding what they went through. You know, I mean, due to the now movement, I'll have a couple of mental health professionals on to describe this because it's caused me to interact with mental health providers in the community. You know, I'll be bringing people on, real everyday people, because I think sometimes when we do this, we're all real everyday empaths. You know, I mean, there's nothing. I don't think Jeff Bezos is going to pop on. You know, so you know, we have, you know, real talk, you know, people that have been through it and understand it. I'm going to do that. I'm going to actually do a schedule. I'm going to see if I can do it once weekly. Um, but yeah, it's going to take a lot of work, but I'm excited. I have a goal, you know, and I'm confident that I can make it happen, you know, and for a long time, I lost that feeling, that capability that I had before I left, before I, you know, got caught up in that narcissistic dynamic. And it's been a journey of rebuilding that, you know, since I got out. And you know, when I came up with this idea, and I was just like the guy at the end of that movie, like, Mortimer, we're back in business, because I felt good about myself. You know, the one thing that the narcissist works so hard at taking away from me. So when I got the feeling, the idea, and I'm looking at real talk, and I'm like, okay, since this is a new version of it, what am I going to, you know, call it? And I was like, yeah, no other way but forward. You know, that's what we're talking about. How there is no other way. You know, and I'm feeling good about that. I didn't have to ask somebody, hey, I'm thinking about doing a new project. It's called, you know, Real Talk, no other way. You know, what do you think about that? Oh, you're always doing projects. You know, are you gonna have time to do that? You know, I didn't have to deal with that. I'm driving the ship now, and that's how you guys should feel. You're driving your ship. You're driving your life. You're at. You're the one holding the steering wheel going down this word of life. It's not that person anymore. That person could never hold the steering wheel, and that's the reason why they treated you the way that they did. It was their shame and their guilt of knowing that they could never be the individual that you are at your core level. You know, so with that being said, that's why the course is here. The course is gonna fund it. I'm not gonna lie. Get it now, okay? Because on the first, it goes up to $49. It is $19.99 right now. And yes, you do get all the updates as it moves forward, because you will have access to the actual course. Let your word be your witness. Correct, correct. You know, you're going to get all the updates. I think I'm going to put a PDF of one of my books, the Empath Survival Guide, in next month. You know, completely free. You know, as long as you have access to the course, it's yours. And then there'll be something every month. You know, but during the beta testing, I really need you guys, when you get the course, run it through its paces. Let me know, okay, if there's anything that you feel we can expand on. So it could be something we can expand on next month, or it could be something that I can tweak right now. You know, again, most of the things I've built is built on the fact that there is hope, because I've made it to the other side. You know, so the link is always in my bio. If you need other links to other resources, regrettably, since I'm so focused on Real Talk No Other Way, and also the system, you know, that's the only link that's in there right now. But if you need other resources, just shoot me a message. I'll get back to you, and I will give you the blueprint to other resources. Many of them are free, but you just got to ask, which means that you've got to decide that you are ready to heal. You know, I don't know. I don't think I have anything else, and I've got dry mouth. And You know, I think I'm going on almost 3 hours, so that's a record for my old butt. Um, but I had a lot of fun with you guys. I had a lot of fun actually decoding this stuff. I have had a lot of fun. Well, I'm not going to say fun. It's been a good experience, you know, sharing insights with you guys and, you know, letting you guys share with me. You know, Nartos, where you at? And thank you, Nartos, for giving me a break.
Hey guys, how's it going?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I want to invite everyone in this group to Somatic Saturdays. We do somatic work,
Mhm.
and it helps to bring yourself back to center and to regulate the nervous system after
Mhm.
you know all the stuff we've learned, which is against the nervous system. We're going to reprogram our nervous system to work for us
Yeah.
instead of for them.
Right.
In the toxic situation, you know, because it's tough. It's tough on the nervous system, but it's important to take a break for yourself, even when you're doing all this hard work. And that's what I'm doing with my
Against
healing
me.
journey is sharing what I've learned to help me, which sometimes is just taking an extended exhale. You know, just like a, you know,
Yeah.
it helps, you know, and so I want to share that with the world. So anyway, it's Saturdays, 8 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, and we do relaxing things. So
Yeah, I love it. I love it. Make sure you're there. I definitely am there every Saturday. Guys, I want to thank you guys for joining me. I appreciate you all. Thank you, Rocket Man Hero, for popping in. I want to thank you guys. Like I said, the blueprint is in my bio. You have to make the choice. I can't make it for you. Okay. At least, at the very least, get some clarity. Check it out. If you want directions to other resources that I have, just send me a message. I'm definitely there for you. With that being said, thank you so much for joining me. I want you guys to stay powerful, but most importantly, I want you to keep healing. And I think the reason that we do everything that we do, love you guys. Have a great day, everyone. See you tonight.
good night, or have a good day. See you later.